and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes.
So everything's been shut down, right? I mean, the process is over for the day, probably.
It's probably over for the week.
Yeah.
Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine.
I don't know if you understood this, Howie. They got into the Senate chambers.
They did into the chambers, not just up above.
Into the Senate, yeah, they were in they're in the Capitol building still.
Yeah.
They took over. They're still on the House step.
It's bigger than you and me. It's about these monuments.
So you bleeped out BS, right?
Live from the...
Yes.
And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Now, we have been told and there have been spotted protesters are inside the Capitol building. There are scores of protesters, we're told. I'm not sure exactly how many, but there have been witnessed. This is something I have never seen in my time covering Capitol Hill, that protesters have actually bleached, not just...
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I'm not condoning, going in. time being. I don't know when they'll restart it. The protesters, the MAGA people, the patriots, broke in. They got through, I guess, 4 layers of security. But and then you see these stories. Pipe bomb reported. I'll be interested in finding out if it. Can we get a follow up on the pipe bomb? So we'll see what happens here. But we're going to be talking about this all afternoon, and a lot of people were listening to the president's speech this afternoon. It was supposed to start at 11. It started around noon, and millions of people were listening. But it was directed at one person, and that person was his vice president, Mike Pence. And I tweeted out. I said, will it work? I have no doubts. I meant to say I have my doubts, but I didn't really have too many doubts, actually. I was pretty sure it wasn't going to work, and it didn't work. Here's what Pence said he issued a statement here. Let's see, where is it here? It is my considered judgment, this is Pence's statement, that my oath to support and defend the Constitution constrains me from claiming unilateral authority to determine which electoral votes should be counted and which should not. That was his statement. And so President Trump responded to that with a tweet. Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certify. U.S. demands the truth! Exclamation point. So there it is. And the other bad news of the day is that, as you know, the Republicans lost both of the Senate fights in Georgia, the runoffs. What a disaster that was, and it was totally preventable. But you have these feckless people in positions of authority, and we think about them, and Governor Parker in Massachusetts, Governor Scott in Vermont, but they're down south now too. Brian Kemp, the governor, and that Secretary of State Raffensperger signing that what was it, an agreement, a consent decree with Stacey Abrams, and letting them just basically run roughshod over election law. And so somebody just texted me and said, I guess Trump was wrong. The Republicans did get tired of winning. Guess they did. It would have been so much better. I mean, again, hindsight's 2020 and all that, but I think we all knew that Kelly Loeffler was kind of a weak sister, so to speak, and that's not a sexist phrase. Could be a weak brother, weak sibling, compared to Doug Collins, who was a hard-charging guy, and he was the congressman. He wanted to succeed. Was it Johnny Isaacson, who got sick and had to resign? And instead, Kemp wanted to go with this rhino, Kelly Loeffler, and she must have sent me 1,000 emails begging for money in the last month. I'll bet you, if you gave any money ever to a Republican, you probably got 1,000 as well. But she's the wife of a multimillionaire. I just deleted them all. And probably the worst one was though Purdue losing to the pajama boy Ossoff. And Ossoff's got a 6-year term now. He's 33 years old, never had a real job. He's a documentary filmmaker. You know who's documentary filmmakers? Kennedy's. That's the kind. He's got Kennedy type money, and he's got Kennedy type work experience, which is to say, no work experience. And they set up this system in Georgia. They used to have this kind of a electoral college of all the counties, the 159 counties, more counties than any state in America. And it was just leading to the election of these really crazy people, because the rural counties would have like 1 vote, and Fulton County and DeKalb and Cobb would have 2 votes. So it was crazy. So they set this system up. You had to get a majority. So on November 3rd, Purdue missed a majority by 13,000 votes. He was at 88,000 ahead of Ossoff. And this is what happens. And now you could end up with 3 new states. And I was just telling Grace in the crossover, I never knew that Guam was on the table too, in addition to District of Columbia and Puerto Rico. Oh my goodness. 844-500-4242. That's people are just going crazy on the text line here. They're saying it's Antifa in MAGA gear. I doubt that. I don't know. I don't know. I guess it theoretically could be. But as far as I can see, though, there are no Molotov cocktails. There's none of the usual MAGA. No one seems to have a gun. The Antifa types have guns, as we've learned from Seattle and Portland and Kenosha. It's I don't know. 844-500-4242. So you think Mike Pence has got a future in Republican politics? I don't think so. I think Mike Pence is all done. And let's play cut 6 in case you were working today and you didn't hear Trump's speech. And by the way, that was another thing. The media keeps saying Trump to speak in front of hundreds of supporters, hundreds. Well, of course, then when when they started pushing through the barricades, it became thousands or maybe millions or trillions of Trump supporters. But when Trump was speaking to him, it was only hundreds. That's what the Associated Press reported, that there were hundreds of demonstrators in D.C. So this is what Trump told the quote unquote hundreds of demonstrators. Cut 6.
I just spoke to Mike. I said, Mike, that doesn't take courage. What takes courage is to do nothing. That takes courage. And then we're stuck with a president who lost the election by a lot, and we have to live with that for 4 more years. We're just not going to let that happen.
And then cut 5.
All Vice President Pence has to do is send it back to the states to recertify, and we become president, and you are the happiest people.
844-500-4242. People are pointing out to me that we don't have to worry about Guam becoming the 53rd state, because didn't Representative Hank Johnson of Georgia say that Guam was on the verge of tipping over because there were too many people on Guam and it was just going to tip over into the Pacific Ocean, like a boat, like a canoe with a hole in it. 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. A polar vortex is coming, and my friends at Eden Pure have a special deal for my listeners on their strongest heater, the Gen 30. The Eden Pure Gen 30 classic infrared heater uses state-of-the-art infrared heat to warm you to the core. This is the kind of heater it is. This is actually a Gen 40, but the Gen 30 looks a lot like it, and it's actually just as good, just about. It's even been proven to keep you warmer than your furnace and save you money on your heating bills every month. The Gen 30 heater doesn't dry out the air in the room. This helps prevent dry skin. If you have young kids or pets in your house, you don't need to worry about the heater burning them or about the heater catching on fire. The Gen 30 heater has an automatic safety tip-over shutoff. With real wood surrounding the heater, it will look beautiful in your room, too. Get ready for the polar vortex and don't be caught with huge heating bills. This sale is 1 week only, so go to EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal. You will receive $25 off and free shipping with code word HowieDeal. This is a great deal, so order now at EdenPure.com. Eden Pure. Never be cold again. I'm Howie Carr.
You might want to keep a close eye on your fried clams. Howie Carr returns after this.
Yum, yum, yum.
Are you aware that
there were pictures, Howie, that just came out recently? House floor was the House chambers were barricaded and security had their guns drawn. Protesters at the door breaking the glass trying to get in.
Wow.
Reports of one woman shot inside the Capitol building.
I'm not sure of all the connotations of that word that you're referring to, but unauthorized surveillance.
Okay, thank you.
Is that more appropriate in your mind?
This is your call. I really did want to give you a chance to say it how you wanted to say it and make sure that you didn't misspeak.
How can you sit here and tell us why should I investigate the president of the United States if you're not even aware of the facts concerning the president using the pardon or commutation power to swap the silence of a witness?
Because we require, a reliable predicate before we open a criminal investigation.
Do you think that this body right here would rise up if they decided to go tonight and paint the Capitol building?
This body, I'm not sure.
You've been hearing me talk about super beats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beats? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac. He's not alive. You say he lives on.
Not alive. I know. I keep doing that. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
When you're slapped, you'll take it and like it.
Howie Carr is back.
Today's poll question is brought to you by the Nauset Beach Inn. Open this winter for the first time in 63 years. Book an ocean view room for only $100 while rooms are still available. These are great ocean views, whether it's summer or winter. It's a great place. Book your ocean view room today at nausetbeachinn.com, nausetbeachinn.com. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
If or when Joe Biden is inaugurated, should President Trump attend?
No, he should not.
25% saying yes.
All right. Okay. I'm surprised it's that high, actually, that people saying that they should that he should attend.
I think the real question will be, will he be invited?
Yeah, what did Groucho Marx say? Why would I want to be a member of any club that would want me? I think that's the way the president feels about this. 781 says, I wonder if the cast of Hamilton can be reached for comment today on Pence's bravery. Bet they love him now, even though they hated him before. What a coward he is. I'm going to stand by my prediction from yesterday before this happened, that if he did what he has done, that he would be the winner in May of the Kennedy family's Profiles in Courage Award for the year. He will be the token Republican. They give it to a Republican about once every 10 years, and this will be the one. 844-500-4242. 917 says, by the way, Ossoff worked for Hank Johnson. Oh my God. Lord. Just by the C-SPAN is reporting that Congress may reconvene at remote location in secret to conclude the vote. So this is just they're just trying to figure out what to do. There are reports that one woman has been shot inside the Capitol. There are also photos from inside the House chambers with Capitol Police with firearms drawn. And apparently the protesters are trying to break down the glass that's in the doors at the entrance to the House chambers. 844-500-4242. I love to. There were just some certain things that I loved about what the president said, and it was basically, things you've heard him say before. And again, he was just directing his comments at Mike Pence, even though he knew that it was a prohibitive long shot. But he did have some funny comments I hadn't heard before. Cut 7.
And the only unhappy person in the United States, single most unhappy, is Hillary Clinton, because she said, "Why didn't you do this for me 4 years ago? Why didn't you do this for me 4 years ago? Change the votes, 10,000 in Michigan. You could have changed the whole thing." But she's not too happy. You don't see her anymore. What happened? Where's Hillary? Where is she?
All right. And we talked yesterday about the fact that the caravans are coming back from Central America, and it's getting more and more play all the time. It has something to do with the fact that the illegal aliens, would-be illegal aliens, were on the bridge in Brownsville, Texas last week, chanting Biden, 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 Biden. They were trying to, hurl themselves across the border and get in line for free stuff. And including free health care, which Biden has promised them, obviously. And Trump mentioned that again today. But let me play one more before we play that cut. Let's play. This is Trump again talking about Pence. Cut 9.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They're ruthless, and it's time that somebody did something about it. And Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country. And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
I'm going to make a prediction that Mike Pence will not be having dinner at Mar-a-Lago anytime ever.
Mar-a-Lago.
Ever. And Trump also, he resorted to we're talking yesterday or the day before about how what's it, Fredo Cuomo is using, or is it Don Lemon, one of those CNN guys? Oh, it's Lemon was using the barnyard expletive, barnyard excrement, bovine excrement, BS, and then AOC was using it, and today it's Donald Trump, the president. Cut 33.
That election, our election, was over at 10 o'clock in the evening. We're leading Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia by hundreds of thousands of votes. And then late in the evening or early in the morning, boom, these explosions of bullshit.
And then he repeated it again. Let's have the moment when the Senate has the abrupt recess when the protesters breach the barricades. Cut 30.
We need to do something. My challenge today is not about the good people of Arizona.
Senate will stand in recess until the call of the chair.
Protesters are in the building. Thank you.
So that was it. That it happened instantaneously. 844-500-4242. And let's play the cut of Trump talking about Mitt Romney's trip back to Washington last night or the day before.
When Romney got beat, did you see I wonder if he enjoyed his flight in last night. But when Romney got beaten, you know, he stands up like your more typical, well, I'd like to congratulate the victor. The victor. Who is the victor, Mitt? I'd like to congratulate. They don't go and look at the facts. Now, I don't know. He got slaughtered, probably. Maybe it was okay. Maybe that's what happened. But we look at the facts, and our election was so corrupt that in the history of this country, we've never seen anything like it.
And this is, if you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. Mitt Romney is going on to the flight to go back to Washington, and the people that are also on the flight are going for the rallies that happened today. And so Mitt, it's like Mitt is trying to get into Faneuil Hall for his debate against Ted Kennedy way back when in 1994. Cut 27.
Traitor! 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 Resign, Mitt! We want to know your connection to Burisma.
At one point, he told, "Could you please put on your mask?" We'll be right back with Kurt Schlicker. I'm Howie Carr.
Hey, Howie, I see you got a haircut again.
Yes, I did, Grace. It looks good, doesn't it?
It definitely looks better than that haircut you got a few years ago before you met the president. Remember that bad buzz cut, Howie?
Geez, you love bringing that up, don't you?
Well, I just think that your bad haircut was a true testament to the wonderful work of Dr. Highness at DiStefano Hair Restoration. Because even though you looked crazy at the time, your hair grew back. And now you look as dapper as ever.
That's true. Dr. Highness did such a wonderful job on my hair. I love waking up every day not worrying about bald spots or a dreaded comb over. I now have a thick head of hair. And the best part of it is, it's my hair. Getting a DiStefano hair restoration was the best decision I ever made.
Well, besides hiring me, right, Howie?
Like I said, Grace, it was the best decision I ever made.
You heard him, guys. Go to hairman.com to get the hair you've always wanted. Get hair like Howie's. Go to DiStefano Hair Restoration. They have 5 locations in New England, and they are open for business. That's hairman.com.
This is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate. I've had a lot of titles over my career, and certainly vice president will be great. But Kamala will always be the one that means the most. They said, well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition. And that's why do gotta go. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories. You know, I'm just gonna engage in real talk. I don't want to waste your time with anything else.
What is your favorite musical genre?
Oh, I mean, I'm hip hop and reggae and jazz. Those are some of my favorites.
Okay.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay.
And I inhale. I did inhale.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level.
Flashing videos that appear and then disappear and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them.
It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So, of course, he's obsessed with me.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in like forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules in this.
Howie, I'm going to come back in with a cut of Kevin McCarthy talking about the violence. It's real
Okay.
quick.
This is so un-American. I condemn any of this violence that's happening in the Capitol right now. I could not be sadder or more disappointed with the way our country looks at this very moment. People are getting hurt. Anyone involved in this, if you're hearing me, hearing very loud and clear, this is not the American way. This is not protected by the First Amendment. This must stop now.
That's Kevin McCarthy, the Republican minority leader from California, talking about the mostly peaceful protests that are going on in the U.S. Capitol. I'm using CNN and MSNBC terminology here. I see that at least one woman has been shot in the Capitol, and I don't know what the details are. We'll learn more as time goes on. And again, CNN is reporting that the Congress may convene in a secure location, as Dick Cheney used to say, to finish off the certification. Joining us now on the line is Southern California lawyer and veteran and also a novelist and columnist, Kurt Schlicker. And Kurt, what do you make of what's going on in the Capitol today?
Well, I wish I could say I was surprised. After normalizing political violence, that's now what we're seeing. And I love all the media types pretending to be shocked. It's just, I was in the Los Angeles riots. I have been used for rioting. But if you were going to mix up a perfect combination of events for this kind of outcome, well, congratulations, establishment. You pulled it off.
Yeah, it's what do you think of Mike Pence? Does he have a future in national politics?
Well, the whole thing with Pence, he doesn't have the ability to wave a magic wand and make things, go the way that we prefer. I didn't think Mike Pence was the guy either, and I think after today, Donald Trump probably isn't going to be a guy in 2024. I think I'm looking for some new leadership in the Republican Party, and not just faces, Howie, not just the guys out front. I'm talking about the people who actually run the party, who organize things, who make strategy, who understand that they need to appeal to people and not just donors. This has been coming for a long time. I keep talking about how our institutions are all run by, third-generation trust fund kids, or at least cultural trust fund kids.
Like
They get
Ossoff.
a degree in Harvard.
But Ossoff won.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, but go to the NFL. Probably a degree. Go to the post office. Probably someone with an Ivy League degree. It's all these guys who didn't build these institutions. They didn't create them. and these institutions are old and all in need of reforming, and instead they're just kind of focusing on making sure that their sinecures don't go away. And and change has to come. And we saw it on the left last summer, and now we're seeing it on the right today. And then you have a media full of idiots normalizing this kind of nonsense. I mean, I look at these people and say, how are you surprised by this? What are they doing that you didn't tell your own side to do? And that's not saying it's right. This is not an excuse. This is an explanation. And you can't figure out you can't figure out how to fix something if you don't have an explanation.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, it's the same thing in California as it was in Massachusetts or New York or Maryland or D.C. You know, the leftist riots and looting and vandalism and arson was excused as speaking truth to power. That's not the way. That's not the way it's going to be portrayed tonight on national TV, is it?
No, and I think there are a lot of Americans who are going to look at it and go, you know, now this is just baloney. Because you were saying one thing before, now you're saying something again, and they're going to be even more disillusioned. Mm-hmm. You know, the way forward is very clear if people want a way forward, but they don't. Our elite is stupid. They're going to use this as a way to try and, you know, they're going to double down on cultural condescension, insults, and passing laws to take our liberty and our dignity because they think that'll suppress us. And no, that's not they've been trying that. And this is the result. Stop. You know, it's very frustrating because, you know, I served this country for 27 years. And to see the failure of our, establishment, it's kind of disconcerting.
Yeah, you really wonder how long we are going to be what they used to call us, the indispensable nation. You know, we certainly look pretty dispensable right now, don't we?
I think that's certainly true. And the fact is, the most important thing to the people who run the major institutions of this country is preserving their position, not doing the right thing for the American people. Donald Trump got elected because tens of millions of people were disenfranchised, felt insulted, and left out of their own country, one that they built, fed, fueled, defended. And the reaction wasn't, these are people who are left out. Let's see if we can integrate them back in. It was, let's shut them up. Let's spend 4 years silencing their, attempting to undercut the person they elected. Let's run an election that
with a false narrative. With a false narrative.
A false narrative, and then and eventually we'll beat them down. Well, guys, that's not how things work. Okay, I was here in the Los Angeles riots. The LAPD kicked off the community, and the community eventually found there was one way to react. I'm not excusing it at all, but I am going to explain it because that's it. You can't shake up a Coke bottle endlessly and then fiddle with the cap and not have it explode.
Yeah. But, there's some people going to say that that's hate speech by Kurt Schlicker to say that. He's condoning what happened today in the Capitol.
That's another... The endless lying is no help, because what happens when somebody who disagrees with you and speaks and you go back and just say, well, you're just a liar, you're a liar, and you don't engage in a reasoned debate. What's left if you don't have reasoned debate where you encounter arguments that you don't like and deal with them and make better arguments or change your mind if they're good arguments? Mm-hmm. What's left? What you're seeing today. I'm not in favor of it. That's just an inevitable response. If you've taken debate off the table, which they're trying to do.
Right. That's what I mean. Do
they expect people to go, oh, well, that whole freedom thing was nice. I'll just kind of shrug.
Right. Because I don't want to get attacked on Twitter.
I guess I'll just give up. No, they're going to get mad. That's human nature. This stuff isn't hard. The problem is, we're run by people, who've never done anything but go to college and work in the government.
Yeah. I was mentioning that yesterday, Kurt. Think about McConnell. I mean, McConnell was an aide to a congressman or a senator. Then he gets elected to Congress. Then he gets elected to the Senate. He has and that's the exact same curriculum vitae as Paul Ryan, the Republican House Speaker, right? I mean, these guys have never. I mean, I know they're from Kentucky and Wisconsin. That's outside the Beltway, but their entire adult life they've been in this bubble, this incredibly affluent bubble. The Beltway, where 7 of the 10 most affluent counties in the United States are located. They don't know how we live.
That McConnell looked at, say, the 2000.
McEnany says National Guard's on the way.
And had no idea of the amount of suffering people were under because of the government. I'm not suffering because I had COVID. I'm suffering because I can't go to the restaurant I want to. There are people out there who don't have jobs. There are people out there hurting, and and it's just like, dude, that's the most tone deaf thing. And again, not you're just being a liberal, give away money. No, you idiots are the ones who locked this down. You caused the damage. This is an attempt to undo it. It's an imperfect one.
Yeah.
But at least it's something. I can't even see it.
Kayleigh McEnany, just the press spokesman at the White House, just announced that the National Guard is on their way to clear out the protests in the Capitol. I don't think that, and again, it's not going to be. I don't think there's going to be violence.
The New York Times is going to be so ticked off.
Oh, they're going to.
I mean, remember when Tom Cotton suggested it? Now it's an imperative. Now it's a moral duty.
You know what? That's a good point. I'd forgotten about that. I was at the supermarket the day after they released the conversation between Trump and his lawyers and Mike Pompeo and Raffensperger, and there was the guy in front of me was buying the New York Times, and the headlines made it sound like it was 9/11 or Pearl Harbor. I mean, it was stripped across the whole front page. It was a settlement talk. Kurt, you do that every day, don't you, as a lawyer? You have settlement talks in a civil case, right?
Of course, but nobody will tell you that.
Right.
I mean, everything is a lie and a scam. You can't reason. You can't get unbiased information. How do they expect people to deal with problems? I think what they expect is surrender. That's not human nature. We have our system depends on all of these things working. You have to have faith in the election system. You have to be able to speak freely. You have to have access to the ability to speak. You have to be able to participate in society, even if you don't agree with everything everybody else does. And when you take those little bits and pieces out, if the system starts teetering, and they're like, well, I can't believe it. You're people aren't supporting the system. Oh, I'm going to pull another little Jenga block out of it, but that's okay.
Kurt, we got to move on, but what's your latest novel, and why should people go on Amazon and get it?
My latest novel is Crisis, and it features a bunch of political activists charging into the Capitol.
Really?
So I'm a little, yes.
Wow.
But Lindsey Graham fights back by pulling somebody's hair, so you got that.
All right, Kurt. That's
but
Kurt.
No, it does. So this is a little bit trippy for me.
That's good. It's good for. It should be good for sales anyway. I mean, I know it's. Again, we don't want to say
this what's going to happen next by Crisis.
What happens next after they get into the Capitol in your book? I know. I guess I don't want to know. I don't want to be accused of inciting to riot.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
All right. Kurt Schlicker, we always appreciate you being here. You're doing a great job with your column and your books and everything else. We appreciate it. I'm glad you've recovered from COVID. I got my shot today down in Florida.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah. I know they keep talking about Florida seniors furious over vaccine rollout. I don't see anybody furious about this. See, it seems it's working a lot better in Florida than it is in New York. I'll tell you that.
You know, it's all a lie and a scam, and that's a real problem.
Yeah. All right, Kurt Schlicker, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. We're all looking for ways to save money, right? Especially now. So let me ask you this. How would you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gaby customers save per year on average on car and home insurance. That's why when I was shopping for insurance, I used Gaby. This is the time of year, first of the year, when we go shopping for insurance. We're trying to cut expenses, make resolutions to cut expenses, cut food intake, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Gaby takes the pain out of shopping for insurance by giving you an apples-to-apples comparison of your current coverage with 40 of the top insurance providers like Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers. Just link your current insurance account, and in just minutes, you'll be able to see quotes for the exact same coverage you currently have. That's exactly what I did. Gaby is fast, it's easy, and I was with my old car insurance company for so long, I couldn't even remember how long it was. The guy who sold me the policy, I lived in Somerville at the time. He's been dead for, I think, 20 years. That's how long I've had it. But, you know, when I put in my old insurance into Gaby, I saw how much money I could save. It was amazing. They showed me all kinds of quotes, and they saved me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. As I mentioned earlier, Gaby customers save $961 per year on average. I'll bet that'd be nice to have in your pocket every year. If they can't find you savings like they did for me, they'll let you know so you could relax knowing that you have the best, most inexpensive rate out there. And they'll never sell your info, so no annoying spam or robocalls. You're probably overpaying on car and home insurance. That just stands to reason. See how much Gaby can save you. You have you're under no obligations. You have nothing to lose. It's totally free to check, and there's no obligations. Go to Gaby.com/Howie. That's GABI.com/Howie. GABI.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
You're tuned into the Howie Carr Radio Network.
Howie, do you want Lou Murray on? He's at the Capitol.
He is? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's put him on.
All right.
63 years. Take advantage of their ocean view room rate while rooms are still available. Low price available only at NaussetBeachInn.com.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love, and to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. Right here is the official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big.
Howie, we'll have him on after 4, okay?
After 4? Okay, that's fine.
Ooh, my.
We'll take a couple of calls then. Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes, we're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about no, never mind.
Yeah, no, Chester, I mean, that's
I
was
getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
Say what you will about him.
He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
He's Howie Carr, and he's here to stay.
844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. After the top of the hour, we'll have somebody in who is there in the at the U.S. Capitol today, and he'll give us a live report. He's a Republican activist from Boston, from West Roxbury. President Trump just tweeted out a few minutes ago, "I am asking everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence!" ! Remember, we, capitalized we, are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you! 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Let's play the cut while we get some more calls up. Let's play the cut of Chris Cuomo last night reporting the Georgia results. Fredo Cuomo, cut 20.
Once again, a beautiful display of democracy in action. We're not getting any funny business out of the state of Georgia. The officials are content with how it's going. We have a long way to go. The counting could take some time. I do not expect it to be called tonight, but we will be going through it. But already, we know on the numbers that we have, we won.
We won. He's a journalist, you know, an unbiased observer. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hi, Howie. How are you?
Hi, good.
We're actually on the highway right now, leaving Washington from the Trump rally, and I'm here with my family, my sister, and they wanted me to make sure you know it was very peaceful, nothing like what's being reported by the media that we hear. It was actually quite inspirational to hear some of the people talk. And I met people from Utah, people from Texas, from all over.
Did you meet any of the people that were on the plane with Mitt Romney?
No, we didn't meet them. And we went down to the Capitol building, and people were on the steps or whatever. But we don't know who went inside. Everybody was very peaceful and, relatively I'm telling you, very inspirational because we all felt like we're trying to do something to make the country whole again.
Well, again, the Associated Press was saying that there were going to be hundreds of people there. What's your crowd estimate, John? Do you agree with the Associated Press that there were, quote unquote, hundreds of people? Hundreds? We lost John. We'll be right back with another eyewitness report. I'm Howie Carr.
listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock.
Yes.
Let's try to get Nate Nickerson on too, okay?
Yeah, Kathy already texted me about him.
Yeah, he got tear gas, so he'd be a good one to have on.
Yeah, we'll probably get him at 4:35.
4:35. Okay, give him a call and just make sure we can get him. That's good. Thank you.
Including peace of mind by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the next senator.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
You've been hearing me talk about super beats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beats? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
Pence just unfollowed Trump on Twitter.
Oh, that was true?
Yes.
I thought that was a joke. That someone just tweeted that at me. It texted me. Is that you sure about that?
That's all indicators on Twitter right now.
Wow.
Strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
This is bigger than Donald Trump. It's bigger than you and me. It's about these monuments and what they stand for.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
You all think I'm licked. Well, I'm not licked. And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Now, we have been told and there have been spotted protesters are inside the Capitol building. There are scores of protesters, we're told. I'm not sure exactly how many, but there have been witnessed. This is something I have never seen in my time covering Capitol Hill, that protesters have actually breached not just
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
The National Guard has been called out in D.C. to respond to the activity, whatever you want to call it, inside the Capitol.
Biden's on right now.
Who is on right now?
Biden.
Okay, we'll listen to Biden a little bit. Here's the vice president.
Scenes of chaos at the Capitol do not reflect a true America. Do not represent who we are. What we're seeing are a small number of extremists dedicated to lawlessness. This is not dissent. It's disorder. It's chaos. It borders on sedition. And it must end now. I call on this mob to pull back and allow the work of democracy to go forward. You've heard me say before in different contexts, the words of a president matter, no matter how good or bad that president is. At their best, the words of a president can inspire. At their worst, they can incite. And therefore, I call on President Trump to go on national television now to fulfill his oath and defend the Constitution and demand an end to this siege, to storm the Capitol, to smash windows, to occupy offices, the floor of the United States Senate, rummaging through desks, on the Capitol, on the House of Representatives, threatening the safety of duly elected officials. It's not protest. It's insurrection.
All right, take a look.
All right, that's Joe Biden. Did he ever call Antifa a mob? Just see if you can find him calling Antifa a mob. I mean, I'm not condoning what's going on, but there is.
Are you sending me on a fool's errand?
I'm glad you know me well enough, Taylor, to know that I don't really expect you to go looking for. It's like looking for a unicorn, or the fountain of youth, or Russian collusion with the Trump campaign. All right. Joining us, welcome to the Howie Carr Show. Incidentally, if you want to join us, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. The most interesting news over the last couple of minutes is that apparently it's true. I thought it was a joke when someone texted me, but apparently Mike Pence, the vice president, has unfollowed President Trump on Twitter. Wow. That's amazing. Pence just tweeted out about 30 minutes ago, the violence and destruction taking place at the U.S. Capitol must stop. That's all caps, must stop. And it must stop now, all caps, or capital letters, must stop now. Anyone involved must respect law enforcement, caps, officers, and immediately leave the building. Okay. So joining us now is Lou Murray. He's a Republican activist from Ward 20, West Roxbury in Boston. And he's down there. Lou, what is going on? Where are you right now at this moment?
Well, I was taking some pictures for the Herald, hopefully. But I was, let's just say I was in the highest spot in the Capitol.
In the building? Did we lose Lou? Looks like we lost. No,
you got me. You got me. Howie, you got me?
Yeah. Where were you? Were you in the building?
No, I wouldn't go in the building. No, I went, but everyone went on to the inauguration, the stadium that they built for the inauguration.
Yeah.
All the deplorables just marched down, and then they sat on bleachers singing patriotic songs. It was beautiful. It was really democracy in action, demanding to have their voices heard. And, I'm sorry my appearance got preempted by Sleepy Joe Sundowner Biden. I don't know how they kept him up long enough. The sun is going down here in Washington. He'll be ready.
Come on, Lou. Come on. Listen, who actually breached the Capitol grounds?
Oh, there were. I saw people walk right in the door. I mean, I didn't. I would never do that, but people literally walked right in the door. The police folded like paper bags.
Really? So were these all Trump supporters? Some of these people look kind of scruffy to be deplorables. No. I'm going
to tell you, I climbed up on the balcony, did a peek at things, take a few pictures, and I literally, the people that were standing next to me were like 65-year-old Polish grandmother, and on my right hand side is a 70-year Vietnamese immigrant, waving American flags. This was all, people that support President Trump, and all they wanted to do was have their voices heard and let the people in the House of Representatives know, especially the Republicans, that they were a serious political movement that wanted to put America first and wanted them to just count the legal votes. And there was absolutely no reason why Mike Pence couldn't have followed the example of 1876, I think, and sent disputed back to the state legislatures and let them sort it out. In 10 days, they could report back to the Electoral College.
Yeah, but if they've been able to, I know that was that's what they wanted to say they were going to do. And Lou Murray is in D.C. and you hear the sirens behind him. They're scrambling more response to what's going.
Oh, you'll like this. You'll like this, Howie. The place has it's like but it has a total Seabrook vibe, if you know what I mean.
I was thinking about that when I was listening to those reporters. I've never seen anything like this. And I was thinking, Lou, about Seabrook, the days of the Clamshell Alliance and all the state troopers.
I was thinking about it too.
And
high electrical prices.
And I was also thinking about the busing riots that I used to cover in Charlestown and on City Hall Plaza. And, this doesn't, again, you don't want any kind of destruction and intimidation of people, but this doesn't seem like it's even rises to the level of the riots in the spring, does it?
No, there was no rioting. This was gathered in a spot that was built for gathering, the Inauguration Stadium, and they were just singing patriotic songs. They hoisted giant American it must be 200 feet by 100 feet. And I mean, like I told you, the crowd is a lot of young people, Brooks Brother types. And then there's a lot of older deplorables from all over the country, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Oklahoma. I think I've met people from 30 states today. And they all had the same message. Like, there is absolutely no reason why, for the sake of having everyone's mind at peace about these ballots, to send them back to the states and let every state do an audit and recertify their.
But Lou, ultimately though, isn't this less on Mike Pence? I mean, again, we all would like him to have done what he could have done, or could have tried to do at least. But isn't this on the state legislatures that didn't grab the bull by the horns months ago? I mean, we talked about this 2 or 3 days after the election. Everybody was saying, well, the state legislatures, they're all these in all of these quote unquote battleground states are controlled by Republicans. They could all just toss these votes out, but not a single one came close to doing it, Lou.
Well, I beg to differ. I mean, you can look at the letter that was sent by the senators and representatives to the House yesterday, and to Mitch McConnell from Pennsylvania.
But not a majority, though. Not a majority.
Sure, majority. But it's unfortunate. Our society, our electoral process, and the republics in all 50 states are gummed up by the same interests that gum up Washington, D.C. And, imagine trying to get a guy like, what's his name? And pick any one of the hacks on Beacon Hill and say, hey, would you like to help me try to, take an odd.
Yeah, you have about 190 out of the 200 names to choose from, Lou, on Beacon Hill. Up to 200, anyone will suffice. How about Spilka and Mariano, just the two leaders of the two bodies? Hey, Lou, get home safely, okay?
Hey, one quick thing, Howie.
Yeah.
There's a rumor going around in the crowd. Mike Pence has found a new job. He's going to be the corporate spokesman for Pampers Diapers.
Oh, stop it, Lou. Lou, come on. All right. That's Lou Murray from West Roxbury. He's down in D.C. We're going to talk with one of our Cape restaurant owners a little bit later, he actually got tear gassed. Nate Nickerson. We'll be with him in a few minutes. With the incoming administration barging their way into office, this may cause some economic disturbance. Tax laws are going to change. Your tax burden on selling real estate will grow. You can count on that. Don't get caught flat-footed and squander the equity in your real estate. Sell today with J.J. Manning. For over 40 years, J.J. Manning has been the leading auction house in New England. From high-end homes to estates to commercial properties throughout New England, J.J. Manning can get your property sold fast and contingency-free. There is a big reason why Mass Lawyers Weekly voted J.J. Manning #1 for 4 consecutive years in a row. Because they have a huge following of bidders who pay cash. When you sell with a broker, you pay the commission. But in an auction, the buyer pays. To learn more on how to get your property sold fast, contact Charlie Gill at jjmanning.com. These are treacherous times in the real estate market. Commercial valuations are plummeting in many areas, while residential areas outside the cities are skyrocketing upwards. You don't want to get caught flat-footed, as I said earlier. With over 16,000 sales and satisfied clients, you can be the next one. Call J.J. Manning today at 800-521-0111 or go to jjmanning.com to get your property sold. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Radio Network.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes, and now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying. I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on. That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, "What the hell have you just done?" How do you top that? I'm just ready. The big, beautiful crescendo, and this character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. Ah, these are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president, and they're not. You really have to elect me, whether you like me or
Taylor,
not.
people are saying he's still following
Country
President
will go
Trump.
to hell
That's fake
if any of these
news.
people get in.
He may have refollowed. I did see that he's still following, or at least refollowed.
Did he refollowed? Okay.
It's possible he refollowed.
And brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's, Howie, both his personal account and his official vice presidential account are still following Trump.
Okay, so that was fake news. Okay. Or did he ever unfollow?
I mean, that's really impossible to confirm.
Okay.
Either way.
Meet any hardship to secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. Cannot measure the health of our children.
If the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
He regretted to his dying day, if ever he lives that long.
Howie Carr is back.
844-500-4242. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Nauset Beach Inn. Open this winter for the first time in 63 years. Book an ocean view room for only $100 while rooms are still available. That's a great price and a great view. It's a really amazing location. Book your ocean view room today at nausetbeachinn.com. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
If or when Joe Biden is inaugurated, should President Trump attend?
No, he shouldn't.
81% say no.
All right. Now they're saying that that was fake news, that Pence did not unfollow President Trump on either his personal or his official Twitter account. 844-500-4242. Rob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Howie, had such a great time with you up in Holyoke that time on the books tour for the Bulger story. Everybody was there. We always had such a great time. But anyway,
thanks.
I just want to say, you listen to Brett Baer and these people today, and if the cloud goes in front of the sun, it's Trump's fault. If anything happens, it's Trump's fault. But Howie, why can't we talk about a State of the Union where the Speaker of the House rips up the speech? Why can't we talk about 4 years of fraudulent investigations? Why can't we talk about? I mean, I'm a peaceful guy. I don't even own a gun. I mean, but it's like, why can't we be talking about how Adam Schiff has congressional immunity and he can spread every single lie there is? Or why can't we talk about how there's no follow-up to the Horowitz report whatsoever,
Or the Hunter Biden investigation, or Swalwell's sexual liaison with an apparent communist Chinese spy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we can be very selective with all this stuff, you know?
Right, but again, we can't condone what's going on. But I would like to get. I hope if they arrest these people, I want to find out some background on these people. I always like it, whether it was the Boston riots in late May. I wanted to know where these people came from. I feel the same way about these people. I want to know who these people are that were trying to break into the house, that were busting down breaking the glass. I want to find that stuff out. One way or another.
Video, Howie. He just released a video on Twitter.
Excuse me? Who released?
Trump just released a video on Twitter, Howie.
Oh, he did. Okay, do we have it? Let's play it.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel. But go home and go home in peace.
So that was the president just tweeted that out. Where was that recorded, Taylor?
Just outside the Oval Office. Would you care to guess what Twitter tagged that video as?
Disputed.
This claim of election fraud is disputed. And this tweet can't be replied to.
The D word used to be disappointed. That's what Charlie Parker always was with Donald Trump. Now the D word is disputed.
It's funny because the end of that disclaimer says, this tweet can't be replied to, retweeted, or liked due to a risk of violence.
Oh, really? A risk of violence. Okay. 844-500-4242. Dawn, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, I just got done listening to Joe Biden's speech on TV, and it blows my mind. Where was he when all the BLM and Antifa people were out killing people and burning buildings? He wasn't out telling them to go home. We have a peaceful protest against something that is close to our heart. You know, I'm sitting up here in Maine thinking, I wish I was there. And he's telling people to go home. I mean, I don't like violence. I don't agree with the violence. But where was he?
I know. He never. Dawn, you're absolutely right. He never used the word mob, did he? Didn't they ask him to? I think they specifically asked him to condemn the violence during those protests in the late spring, early summer, and he never would. He wouldn't say it. And he said he was at one point he said he would defund the police, and then he denied it. That he said I didn't say defund the police. I just said I would reallocate assets. Remember that? And incidentally, too, I thought tear gas was now verboten in the blue cities of America. Aren't all these people in places like Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington? They're saying and New York City. Aren't they saying they don't want to use tear gas anymore? Boston too, I think. There were a lot of the quote unquote community activists didn't want to use tear gas. Now tear gas is okay again. I mean, I never had a problem with tear gas. I like Lou Murray. I remember tear gas from the old days in Seabrook, New Hampshire, at the riots outside the building of the Seabrook nuclear power plant. But they have different views about tear gas depending on who it's used against. We'll be right back with another eyewitness. I'm Howie Carr.
The election is behind us, and what happens next is anyone's guess. Most agree, though, that taxes will be going up in the future. Is your portfolio ready? Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates want you to be sure.
If you want to come in and take advantage of that free consultation, we're going to have the 100-100 challenge. So if you have at least $100,000 in an investment account with somebody else, and you go through our process, is no obligation, you're going to be able to get a $100 bill. You could leave our office with that $100 bill, and we're going to do the comparison, and we're going to send you on your way, and then you could circle back around if you wanted to.
Call now for your no-cost, no-obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for market reviews and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today at 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first connect in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glennis the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man. Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did.
Yes.
You don't have to do this immediately, but can you pull a cut of Charlie Parker talking about the mostly peaceful shootings and looting in Boston in May?
Sure, I'll look for it.
Because he's denounced the violence.
So glad to hear that.
It's so
vegan,
heartfelt.
So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you're taking tests where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as...
Hey, Howie?
Yes.
Nate said he'll call later because he's on a subway right now and his battery's dying.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay.
But I'll come back with that Charlie Parker cut, and you can take it from there.
Okay. Why don't I read the statement today, and then we can play. We'll read that one first, okay?
All right, you're coming back. Hold on.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Nate Nickerson's on the subway in the metro in D.C., and so he can't call us right now because he can't get through, obviously, because he's underground. But we'll talk to him in a few minutes. So we'll take a couple of calls here, 844-500-4242. So as you might expect, Governor Charlie Baker is very disappointed in what's happening. I join with Americans from every corner of the country to condemn the violence unfolding at the Capitol, and President Trump and his supporters must do the same immediately. The chaos now unfolding is the sad but predictable outcome of weeks of attacks perpetrated by President Trump and his supporters against the democratic process. It's an attack on our democracy and should be condemned without qualification. That's today. This is after the riots on Sunday night in late May, when shots were fired on Tremont Street at Boston Cops, and windows were broken and stores were looted all the way from Newberry Street down to Downtown Crossing. This is what Charlie Baker said about that.
I think anybody who's watched these events or witnessed them appreciates the fact that the vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who were part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that, at least here in Massachusetts.
I don't notice the words vast majority of protesters were not causing trouble today from Charlie Parker. He can't bring himself to say that. He's got to get in on the right side of the mainstream media and his fellow Democrats. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show if you want to join us. And again, we'll take some phone calls here as we await some more calls in from the scene itself. 844-500-4242. Steve from Springfield, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, Howie. How are you going?
Good.
I actually went very close to going to D.C. I bought a bullhorn at Harbor Freight, and the thing was, I got a big mouth anyway, so you can imagine what that would have been like. But one of the points I wanted to bring up is some of the people that broke into the Capitol and some of those were Antifa people. They did close-ups on some of their tattoos on Parler.
Really? Oh, I haven't seen those. That's why I was saying, when they arrest people, I want a list and mug shots, and then we can all research them on social media and see exactly who these people are. Some people have been texting me and saying that the Antifa social media were giving instructions on how to impersonate or mimic Trump supporters, deplorables, and act that way. And again, I don't know, and I don't condone this by anybody doing it at of whatever side. But I wonder the same thing. Let's see.
Howie, on Twitter, there's several pictures circulating of people who have stormed the Capitol, and one of the protesters looks like Rasputin Jack Dorsey, and on his hand, it's purported that he has, and it looks just like it, a hammer and sickle tattoo. So there could be some credence to that.
A hammer and sickle. There is one. There's apparently been one shooting inside the Capitol. A woman was shot by, it appears to be the police. No one's made an official statement, but she was taken out on a stretcher, and there was a lot of blood. And it's being reported by various news outlets in D.C. that she was taken to a hospital in critical condition. Thanks for the call, Steve. Look, keep an eye on that, Taylor, if we can find out some more information about who's being arrested and what they look like. Dave, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Howie. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
The Republican Party, they should have been out in front on all of these balloting issues a long time ago. I agree. By the time it came to Election Day, the horse had left the barn, and they just continue to, with a few exceptions. Well, more than a few, but they just continue to. They are the Fredo party. They're weak and they're stupid, and they will continue to be if they don't wise up and start and understand that the best defense is an outstanding offense. And I mean, Mike Pence could have led that charge starting 2 years ago because, I mean, it was entirely predictable. It's not like it was a surprise.
I know, Dave. You know, the thing is, though,
it's very, very disappointing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember talking to somebody, one of Trump's money guys, and this was in, I guess, September. I was still up in Massachusetts. And he said, well, we've raised $25 million for the election challenges. I was thinking about that today, Dave. And I was thinking, wouldn't it have been better to have spent that $25 rather than going up against these leftist judges who were going to laugh at them? Wouldn't it have been better to try to stop the wholesale changes in these election laws that were being pushed through? I don't know if you saw it today. Cleta Mitchell, that was the female lawyer who was with Donald Trump on the call to Raffensperger. She had to quit her law firm today. She was basically run out of her law firm. Even though she was a good advocate, if you listen to that phone call, and Trump would have been, he wasn't out of control himself, but he would have been better off letting her carry the ball more. But on the other hand, Powerline Blog said this today. She's run out of her law firm. She'll be okay, but why should she be humiliated and shunned like this by her professional colleagues? And yet Mark Elias, the guy, he's from Perkins Coie. He's the one who negotiated a lot of these changes in the law, which weren't approved by the legislature. And that's one of the reasons why there's so much controversy, because the legislature is supposed to set election laws, not some bureaucrat unelected. And Mark Elias, he's from Perkins Coie. You know what Perkins Coie is? That's the law firm that laundered the money to pay for Christopher Steele to write the dodgy dossier. They were working for Hillary Clinton. And he's the toast of the town in Georgetown for all of his work on behalf of the Democrat Party. Mark Elias is his name. And Cleta Mitchell is having to pack her belongings at her law firm where she's been for 20 years because she represented and believed in the President of the United States. 844-500-4242. Thanks for the call, Dave. I appreciate it. Ray, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Ray.
Hi, Howie. My name is Ray Marshall. I'm a truck driver I live in Eugene, Oregon. I'm based out of Vancouver, Washington. I happen to be in your beautiful state of Maine today for my time off. First time here. Wonderful people, beautiful country. I've driven 42,000 miles in the last 4 months across this country, and you know, what I find is most people are good. And most people just want to work and take care of their family, and just happened to turn on your radio station today, and that's my only news of what's going on today.
And I would add one thing to that, what they want to be left alone, Ray, don't they? They want to be left alone. They don't want the government's hand in their pocket. They don't want the government in their bedroom. They don't want the government in their kitchen. They don't want the government in the bathroom telling them what kind of flush toilets they're going to have. And unfortunately, I think that with the Democrats, they're pests. Everything that's not outlawed is mandatory. That's the society that they want. 844-500-4242. Thanks, Ray. Yes.
Howie, so remember Don Lemon on his show, they had the credulous boomer rubes moment?
Yes.
Anderson Cooper just had his. Listen close. This isn't great audio, but it's the best we have right now.
Of completely unpatriotic, completely against law and order, completely unconstitutional behavior. It's stunning. And they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at. And
the Olive Gardens and the Holiday Inns that they're staying at. Oh, I think some of them came in RVs, didn't they, Taylor? Not everybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody went had enough money to go to the Holiday Inn and the Olive Garden. Oh, you can bet that Anderson Cooper would never be caught dead in an olive garden. Good Lord. That really is. That is a telling remark. A telling remark indeed. Thanks for the call there, Ray. 844-500-4242. Let's see here. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Howie, welcome back from vacation and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
I wanted to really just kind of even follow up on one of your previous callers who talked about how weak the Republicans are. And I've been a lifelong Republican that got out of the party about 2 years ago with their lack of support for Donald Trump. And my honest opinion is, after watching what's happened since the election, their inability to back this president up, we've now lost any hope of being able to do anything in the Congress now with a Democrat Senate and a Democrat House. The changes that are going to take place in the next 2 years are going to be crazy. And I honestly think it's time that we need new leadership with a new party. I'm not talking about a third party. I'm talking about disbanding the ridiculous Republican Party, bringing in people who have some intestinal fortitude, invite the 17% of Democrats who thought this was a fraud, invite the 30% of independents who thought it was a fraud, and bring the people of America who are Republican that think that this was a fraud, start a new party, and then put an end to this.
Donald Trump Jr. said it in a slightly different way, what you're saying right now, Bill. Let me play that cut. Cut 21. This is Donald Trump.
That's the message. These guys better fight for Trump, because if they're not, guess what? I'm going to be in your backyard in a couple of months.
And let's keep going with Donald Trump Jr. 22. Cut 22.
We got to start fighting like the Democrats do. We got to play their game. We got to take their fight to them their way. Our reluctance to do that over the last few decades is why we are in the position that we are in. So today, friend or foe, today, Republicans, you get to pick a side for the future of this party. Again, I suggest you choose wisely.
That's basically what Bill was saying, and that's what a lot of people are thinking today. My friends at Eden Pure have done it again. Starting today, you can get the Thunderstorm air purifier. I'm holding it up right now for the camera at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word Howie, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. This New Year's sale is for 1 week only and while supplies last. The Thunderstorm is a small device, as you can see, that you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell you may have in your basement. No filters are needed, and comparable units can start at $600. I've seen them in doctors' offices and asked myself, why didn't they order the Thunderstorm? The Thunderstorm doesn't take up any floor space and is quiet. Take advantage of this 1 week only sale and experience for yourself what all the listeners are raving about.
As you know, Howie, I've got one in the basement. It's tucked in the corner. You wouldn't even know it's there except for the lack of any smell of any kind. Any basement you walk into, it has an odor. I don't care where you are, but with a Thunderstorm, it's all gone.
Right. And even if you don't have a pet, even if you don't go into your basement or don't have a basement, this still improves the air, because you're going to cook something that doesn't smell bad every once in a while. Something is going to smell bad, and that's what the Thunderstorm is there for. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone. Howie Carr.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side?
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. You know, and again, they're saying, well, how dare they object to the election returns? How dare they say the election was stolen? Remember Jerry Nadler? He was one of the Penguin from New York City. He was one of the architects of the Ukrainian collusion hoax. And this was Jerry Nadler, the Penguin, back in 2005 on this very day when they were certifying the results. 38.
The right to vote has been stolen from qualified voters, stolen through corruption, through political cynicism, through incompetence, through technical malfunction.
Stop me if you've heard that one before. Pete, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Pete.
Hi, Howie. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I just wanted to point out I've been listening to the news all day while I was working here, and I was kind of fascinated because Biden and Charlie Parker have all called, that the violence has to stop, and they called out the National Guard, and yet I haven't seen one burning building, one overturned car. I've seen nothing but a peaceful protest. And from what I heard on the news, the people who stormed the Capitol basically just walked through the front door.
Yeah. Charlie Parker, in his statement just now, he did not refer to the vast majority of peaceful protesters as he did to the vast majority of peaceful protesters after the rioting and looting and arson and the shooting at cops in late May on Tremont Street. Happen? Yeah, no, it happened. D.C., the capital just happened. The rioting in downtown Boston happened last May.
Sorry.
Yeah. Remember, Marty Walsh didn't call out all the police. He only had 1/3 of the police department on duty that night when the peaceful protesters ran amok. But we have 2 sets of standards here, and again, I'm looking for all the community activists to protest the use of tear gas today because they've been protesting. They don't want tear gas. What do they want the cops to use? And I'm sure that the people who want to defund the police, and some of them are in Congress, I'm sure they were very relieved to have the armed law enforcement officers inside the House chambers today when the protesters of whatever political stripe they were, and that still remains unclear how many from each side were there. We're trying to breach the House chambers. 844-500-4242. Frank, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Frank.
Hey, Howie, thanks for taking my call. I just want to kind of reflect a little bit on how the Democrats stole, a possible election from Bernie Sanders in 2016, but now there's not a chance they would have stolen anything from, Trump and his team and us as Republicans, or even the Democratic voters. Something was stolen from them 2 elections in a row, by my count.
Yeah, I mean, again, I thought I played this earlier in the day, but I thought the funniest line that Trump had at his speech today was about Hillary Clinton. Cut number 7.
And the only unhappy person in the United States, single most unhappy, is Hillary Clinton, because she said, "Why didn't you do this for me 4 years ago? Why didn't you do this for me 4 years ago? Change the votes, 10,000 in Michigan. You could have changed the whole thing." But she's not too happy. You don't see her anymore. What happened? Where's Hillary? Where is she?
Stan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Stan.
Yes, Happy New Year, Howie, and to your whole crew.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. I can't help but think of all of the wrong and rioting that has gone on through other major cities throughout the country, and it never was not a foot of film played on TV, national TV, for everyone to see. And usually
they never called them a mob either. They never called them a mob. They never said it was violent. It was always peacefully protest. 508 says, where was this fake performative outrage this summer when Antifa and BLM were rioting? It was nowhere to be found. It was MIA. I'm Howie Carr.
Hey, Howie, I see you got a haircut again.
Yes, I did, Grace. It looks good, doesn't it?
It definitely looks better than that haircut you got a few years ago before you met the president. Remember that bad buzz cut, Howie?
Geez, you love bringing that up, don't you?
Well, I just think that your bad haircut was a true testament to the wonderful work of Dr. Highness at DiStefano Hair Restoration, because even though you looked crazy at the time, your hair grew back. And now you look as dapper as ever.
That's true. Dr. Highness did such a wonderful job on my hair. I love waking up every day not worrying about bald spots or a dreaded comb over. I now have a thick head of hair. And the best part of it is, it's my hair. Getting a DiStefano hair restoration was the best decision I ever made.
Well, besides hiring me, right, Howie?
Like I said, Grace, it was the best decision I ever made.
You heard him, guys. Go to hairman.com to get the hair you've always wanted. Get hair like Howie's. Go to DiStefano Hair Restoration. They have 5 locations in New England, and they are open for business. That's hairman.com.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word? Poop. Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
You've been hearing me talk about super beats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beats? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people.
Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story. And I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat. He's a big, huge man, completely soaked in sweat and salt water.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, see those 2 kids up there? And he said, those are my sons. They were both spectacular football players at New Bedford High School who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's 1 minute of President Eric Swalwell.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold. Welcome to my fellow candidates, whom I consider we are all a part of being the Avengers. The Republicans in 2016, that was the Hunger Games. And, it's said often that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And we heard a lot of rhymes yesterday. My wife, Brittany, also wants you to know we've got 2 beautiful children, Nelson and Cricket. But the decision to have children was her choice. I'm the only candidate calling for a ban and buyback on every single assault weapon.
Again, we have to have an ankle monitor on this president. This is the worst possible time for a serial offender like him to be running around unsupervised.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
This is bigger than Donald Trump. It's bigger than you and me. It's about these monuments and what they stand for.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's death involved.
You all think I'm licked. Well, I'm not licked. And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Now, we have been told and there have been spotted protesters are inside the Capitol building. There are scores of protesters, we're told. I'm not sure exactly how many, but there have been witnessed. This is something I have never seen in my time covering Capitol Hill, that protesters have actually breached not just
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
So the mayor of the District of Columbia, Muriel Bowser, has issued a curfew tonight for 6 p.m. I'm reading an Associated Press story. A suspicious package was also reported in the area. I think it's being reported elsewhere that it wasn't in the area. It was reported at RNC headquarters, Republican National Committee headquarters, and then they decided to check out the DNC too. And many of these Trump supporters seem to have come disguised as the type of protester that was in the streets last summer, if you know what I mean. Just check out the pictures tonight on social media of some of the people that were inside. I don't know who they are, but they don't look like the kind of people you would normally see at MAGA rallies, if you know what I mean. 844-500-4242. Right now, it's time for the Chump Line.
Howie, Charlie Baker calling. Though it took 76 years, you are finally now following the science. So I think the folks in the community should be praising you for getting the vaccine and religiously wearing your mask while you ride your bicycle every morning.
No, not true. I do not religiously wear my mask. I never wear my mask. 207 says, how did Howie get a vaccination? He's not 75. He is not an essential worker, and he always claims how healthy he is. I got an email from my doctor a couple of days ago, and he says, would you like to get the vaccine? We've got enough vaccines for all of our patients. And so I said, you know what? I'll get the vaccine. So I walked down to the doctor's office, and there was no problem, and I got it done. What the hell? I can't get and I'm really being attacked. That we're going to do Hate Mail Monday tomorrow on Thursday, but I posted it on my on Twitter. You know, my card. I now have a card. Soon that card, as somebody pointed out, will be mandatory if you want to go on an airplane. Probably if you want to go in a federal building. I hope.
Papers, please.
I hope not. I hope not. But I figured, as long as it was a nice day. There was no wait. I just walked in. I got the shot. It didn't cost me anything. And yet I see this story in the local Palm Beach paper today. Florida seniors furious over vaccine rollout. I didn't see anybody who was furious. And by the way, there's no problems in Florida, despite what CNN is saying. All the problems are in places like New York, where de Blasio and Cuomo are blaming each other. Cuomo is saying, we didn't know it was going to be this complicated. Really? I thought you had time to write a book. You didn't have time to plan how you were going to give out the vaccine?
I just saw a truck going through town with a big Joe Biden flag and a big American flag. When did it become okay to fly the American flag again?
I can't believe that's true. Are you sure you didn't hallucinate that? You're right. That's not. I didn't think it was permissible to have a Biden banner. I didn't know there were any Biden banners, by the way, and with an American flag.
Copy.
The Chump Line is brought to you today by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, remembering Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers, who reminded us, quote, when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone.
This is what freedom looks like.
Again, I repeat, freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose.
Well, I guess we now know which protests are unacceptable.
Yeah. A texter asked, will the bail project, all these groups, they've been raising money among the liberal housewives to bail out violent criminals because they're victims of something or other. Are they going to be bailing out all the deplorables who were arrested tonight? Or are they going to wait to see if they're really deplorables or if they represent another part of the political spectrum before they decide whether to provide bail? If it's like the earlier Antifa riots, the bail will be negligible, as we've seen across the country.
The Democrats are only trying to play by their rule book. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
Cheating is fun. Cheating is Democrat fun.
I am so grateful that soon I will be governed by Biden, Harris, Schumer, and Pelosi with the help of AOC and her squad. Maybe Hunter Biden can be ambassador to China.
Or maybe he can be ambassador to, I don't know, Colombia or Bolivia. That's where he might prefer to be, actually, if you know what I mean.
I was just 2 years old when I went to my first protest march with my mommy. My mommy asked me how and what I wanted. I replied, free lunch and free college and tax the working people.
Freedom!
The way Martin Luther King Jr. told the story, it was kind of touching because the woman was talking about, freedom from oppression. And Kamala Harris's version of it is just kind of like a parody. It's, the old saying, history repeats itself, first as tragedy, then as farce. This was a good example. Kamala Harris's version, farce.
The socialists have finally reached their goal by way of stealing total control.
Now they are free to pursue their fait accompli, which is to rip out the country's very soul.
You know, the old story, Benjamin Franklin, when he was leaving the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, a couple of people, as he was leaving, they leave and said, Ben, what do we got, a monarchy or a republic? And Ben Franklin famously replied, a republic if you can keep it.
Can we get Mike Dukakis down to Washington, D.C. so he could stand on a tank?
I was thinking about Mike Dukakis myself today. I was wondering if has he been brought forward to say anything here at this magic moment for the Democrats? I don't think so.
And now back to the Wowie for Kamala with Neil Young. Keep on walking in the free world.
860, didn't D.C. ban the use of tear gas, which otherwise would have kept these groups from reaching the Capitol steps? That's an interesting point. I don't know. I mentioned it earlier that there were many calls in the summer to ban the use of tear gas. I don't know if anybody ever followed through on it or not. And we're going to have a guest a little bit later on who said that he was tear gassed. So they maybe it wasn't tear gas they were using. Maybe it was pepper spray. I don't know. Seems kind of a fine distinction there, a distinction without a difference. If you get sprayed in your eyes with anything like that, you're going to hurt for a while.
Howie, I wouldn't worry about Guam becoming a state. If it does, it'll probably just capsize anyway.
Yeah, it'll capsize when they bus in or boat in all the voters, all the illegal voters from out of state like they allegedly did in Georgia.
That was your last Chump Line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
That's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you would like to leave such a message, is 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. If you didn't hear your message or you left it a little bit later or for whatever reason it was on the cutting room floor just now, you might hear it, or if you just want to hear more Chump Line messages that you just like them, even if you didn't contribute it, there's Chopped Chumps, which is posted as a podcast every night about the time the show ends at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Chop Chumps, get them wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcasts. The Chump Line is brought to you every weekday at this time by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, remembering Jerry Marsden from Jerry and the Pacemakers, who reminded us, quote, when you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone.
And now back to the Wowie for Kamala with Neil Young. Keep on walking in the free world.
339 says, I think the Metro Police in D.C. can no longer use tear gas, but the feds can. That may be it. So that explains it. That's a tough break for the Metro Police if they can't use tear gas, though, because if you can't use tear gas, how do you disperse a mob? And that's the word that all the media is using today, mob. That word was verboten in the summer, but it's back with a vengeance, big time. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
Nauset Beach Inn is open for the first time this winter. Take advantage of their ocean view room rate of only $100. All rooms have 2 queen beds and they're pet friendly too. Nauset Beach Inn is the only hotel on the Cape Cod National Seashore. Contact-free check-in and check-out. Don't hesitate. These rooms go fast. Reserve now at nausetbeachinn.com. That's nausetbeachinn.com.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, a 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK. The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan. 8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. But if Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, and the demagogues around the world, we also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS, it would put 720 million women back in the workforce. I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP? Yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? Bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
He didn't come here to be made sport of.
Funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Howie Carr is here to stay.
There's one picture of a guy inside the Capitol. Well, there's a bunch of them that look really scraggly, scruffy. Squirrely would be Merle Haggard's word. They look very squirrely. One of them has his face painted, and he's wearing one of these fur hats that has horns on each side. It's a rather distinctive headgear. And so somebody from Arizona looked through her shots at a BLM rally from last summer. And there's a guy who could be this guy's twin brother at the BLM rally, right in front of a hand-painted banner that says, "Bleep the police." And his face is painted. Not only is he wearing this headgear with the horns on it, but he's also having his face painted at that BLM rally with the "Bleep the police" sign behind him. Maybe it's his twin brother. One went. Sometimes siblings go one way, the other one goes the other way. Even if they're twins, it could happen, right? So I'm not jumping to any conclusions. But this is one of the guys who's going to be identified tonight by the mainstream media as a Trump supporter. 844-500-4242. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Nauset Beach Inn. Open this winter for the first time in 63 years. Book an ocean view room for only $100 while rooms are still available. Book your ocean view room today at nausetbeachinn.com. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
If or when Joe Biden is inaugurated, should President Trump attend?
No, he shouldn't.
80% say no.
80%. All right. 844-500-4242. Think we should tweet out this picture of the guy in the horn hat and the guy at the BLM rally in the horn hat?
No, I don't think so. There's an uncropped picture that indicates he is actually a Trump supporter that went to antagonize BLM protesters.
Really?
Yes.
He looks exactly like that guy at the BLM protest.
Yeah, that's him. But he's at the BLM protest to antagonize BLM supporters.
Really?
The fully uncropped picture says he's carrying a sign that says Q sent me, or there's another one where he has a sign that says it's in God's hands now, patriots. He's a Trump supporter.
I haven't seen
there are questions about the ones beside him, though. They have been preemptively identified as possible Antifa.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, he's flanked on the side by two rather.
The one in the yellow has the tattoo on his hands.
Oh, that's the guy with the tattoo. Okay, I
hammer
see
and
him.
Sickle.
Okay, that's the hammer and sickle guy. Oh, so it's a bipartisan group that went in there then. The Trump guy in the horn hat and the Antifa guy. All right. Jenny, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jenny.
Hi, Howie. Thanks for, giving light to all what's going on down there. I listened to the news briefly down the dial, the local news, but on this subject, I knew how they cover it. And oh my God, Howie, you think it was the end of the world. They had they brought up one of the guys from the radio station down in D.C. He said, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. He said, the bleachers they built for the inauguration, they're sitting all over them. And they're standing on the stairs. Oh, and not just that, Howie, they were standing on the stairs on both sides of the Capitol building. It was, if you had heard it, you literally would have thought the world was coming to an end. And he went on to say, and not only that, but there was information circulating on social media that some of these people might be bringing weapons. So this could be a really dangerous situation. Nothing now. Meanwhile, when Rome was
Jenny, I thought the world ended on over the weekend when Trump called Raffensperger, the Secretary of State of Georgia. The world is ending again today.
That was a close call then. This might be the actual end. But real quick, Howie, the last thing is just the way that they went on to say about these Trump supporters. And it was unbelievable when you know that nothing of the sort was said about when there was actual rioting. There were Trump supporters killed, as you know,
right,
in Washington State, Oregon, and Denver by these people. And it's the same way they talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. Yesterday, I heard a thing on NPR saying a right-wing activist killed these supporters, these protesters.
Both of whom were convicted criminals, and one of whom was a pederast who had actually raped 5 underage boys.
Correct. And also, they never mentioned that he was being smashed over the head and chased down the street by them.
Right.
It's convenient that things leave out. So anyway, thanks for the intellectual honesty, and I appreciate you being there, Howie.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Rick, you're next with Howie Carr. Oh, we don't have time. We'll take some more calls when we come back. 844-500-4242. There's there's going to be some interesting photographs when we begin to do with people on social media begin to do some analysis of these pictures of who's in this group. And again, will we get a list of the arrestees? I await with bated breath, but I don't, come to think of it, I don't think I'll hold my breath waiting for the Metro Police to release that information. I'm Howie Carr. My friends at Eden Pure have done it again. Starting today, you can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word Howie, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and
Howie, we should have Nate Nickerson after the break.
Okay. Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell lingering in your basement. No filters are needed, and comparable units can start at $600. I've seen them in my doctor's offices and ask myself why they don't order the Thunderstorm. The Thunderstorm doesn't take up floor space and it's quiet. Take advantage of this 1 week only sale and experience for yourself what all my listeners are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free.
Are we? Howie, Harmeet Dillon tweeted 2 pipe bombs at the RNC headquarters were detonated after staff were evacuated. Whoever's behind that act will be found and prosecuted.
Harmeet Dillon, she's the Republican committee woman, national committee woman from California, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They were detonated. There were 2 pipe bombs and they were detonated?
That's what she said.
Wow.
Anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women create.
She wasn't very clear. They were detonated by the bomb squad.
Oh, they were, okay, by the bombs. Okay, well.
40, 50 clips in a weapon.
We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck, thank you very much.
All right, it's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163 Republicans voted no. Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of the View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African.
Howie, the guy in the horns was Jake Angeli, and he is a Trump supporter.
He is. The guy, okay. How about the guys on the other side?
I haven't really confirmed those yet.
Rape. I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Hold up!
Nate's on.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Harmeet Dillon. She's the Republican National Committee woman from California. She's been on the show before. Very smart person. She just tweeted out 2 pipe bombs at the RNC headquarters were detonated after our staff were evacuated. Whoever is behind this terrorist act must be found and prosecuted. And it's now being reported that the guy in the horns is named Jake Angeli and that he is a Trump supporter. We don't know about the guy with the hammer, the guy that's standing next to him with hammer and sickle, the symbol of the Soviet Union, tattooed on his hand. Joining us now on the line is Nate Nickerson. He's a friend of the show. He owns Arnold's. It's a great seafood spot in Eastham down on the Cape. And he was down in Washington today. I guess you're still down there, right, Nate?
Yes, I am, Howie. How you doing?
Good, good. Tell it. You got tear gas today?
Yeah, oddly enough.
Where did it happen, and under what circumstances?
Well, we were on the back steps, if you will, the side of the Congress that faces the Washington Monument, that side of the Congress building, and we were walking up right close to what you'd call the front lines, maybe, and people were going over the wall, so to speak, and getting into areas where they preferred you not to go, if you will. And there was a lot of them, and they were just climbing over by the dozens, old people, young people, men, women, and they were just taken over, and they did. And the cops, we saw the cops there. Eventually they came and they went, they came. They didn't know what to do, but eventually they came in force, obviously, and they were ready for battle. They had all the gear, riot gear, the whole 9 yards, and I guess they were getting pretty nervous. So they and we were people were pushing and pushing and pushing to get closer and closer and closer, and finally they just let some tear gas go, and it was kind of odd too because I didn't know it, but there was white gas, there was blue gas, and there was pink gas. It looked kind of pretty, actually.
Red, white, and blue.
Tasted good. Yeah, the colors. I think they did more damage control there than they did during the riots in Seattle or Portland, whatever. There's plenty of people there. I've never seen so many police and police and riot gear. So that's what happened there, and they weren't very friendly either, unfortunately, because one lady was leaning against a gate way up close to the building, and they pushed her down. They just pushed her. What's that all about? I didn't understand that. They got a little pushy, but basically they backed off and let us do what we had to do. There was not any real trouble. There were a couple of scuffle instances, but there was no real trouble. I'm sure it's going to be painted as if it was the worst Washington's ever seen. It wasn't. It's
going to be the worst thing since the British burned down the White House in 1814, Nate. You know that.
I was actually enjoying it all. I knew it was kind of fun to just watch everyone, and these people are not happy. I mean, they're not crazy.
You need to back up. He sounds like he's condoning it.
They're angry.
Yeah, you can't. You can't, Nate. You can't condone it though. They shouldn't have breached the walls though, right? Come on, right?
Well, there wasn't much of a wall there. I mean, they didn't go inside the building. They stayed outside the building, and I didn't think there was a big.
They broke into the Capitol.
Really, they shouldn't push. They shouldn't shove. They shouldn't break anything, of course. But they just went. If you saw what this area is, it's just a little, kind of a garden area.
Were the people before they went across there? You were with them, and again, neither Nate nor I condoned what was done, breaking in, breaching the Capitol. But were these people angry? I mean, what were they saying as they marched towards the Capitol from the rally?
Well, they were singing. They were basically singing the songs, "God Bless America," "America Beautiful," and all that. And they were just, Trump 4 more years, singing USA. I just want to make it clear, I didn't breach. My friend didn't. We didn't breach the wall there, if you will. But we watched people do it, and I mean, it was symbolic more than anything. There was no danger. No one was in danger, and it didn't create any real problem. Mm-hmm. And so but it'll come out like that happened.
Well, did you hear what Anderson Cooper said on CNN?
Oh,
I'm
sure.
I'm going to let you listen to this, and you could respond, because he's kind of putting everybody who was down there in a lower class than himself. His mother is a Vanderbilt. We understand that. He comes from Boku Bucks, but
he does that anyway.
But listen to this, Nate.
It's stunning, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at, and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Are you staying at the Holiday Inn or the Garden Marriott? Are you going to the Olive Garden tonight for dinner, Nate?
That's too far away. I'm actually staying in the Hilton, and I don't drink, so. 100%. I mean, these are middle American people. These are not gangsters, and they're not lowlife. They're wonderful people. They just don't like to. And if Biden had won fair and square, we wouldn't be here today. It was just that they didn't want to get screwed, and that's what happened. With the election, the guy that won didn't get all the votes. And that's what they're upset about. It's not fair play, and now I don't know if it ever will be.
Are you glad you went down, Nate?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was fun. We first listened to President Trump down the other end at the what is it? Elliptical? The ellipse. Listen to him speak, and then everyone trudged down to the Capitol building, and the thing was, I think we just wanted to get the attention of the legislators and let them know that they can't do this without consequences. And I don't mean physical consequences. I mean these Republicans that don't go along with Trump. I think in 2022, most of them, if they're going for election, will be tossed out. People aren't going to forget this. But Anderson Cooper,
yeah,
who does he just say that? I don't know.
All right. Well, Nate Nickerson, we look forward to seeing you back at Arnold's in the summer. It's a great place for seafood in Eastham. It's a wonderful spot. We stopped in there when we were down there, the mailroom manager and I, over the Labor Day weekend. But we look forward to it. And thanks for going down. And there were a lot of people from Massachusetts down there, weren't there?
There were a lot of people from every state down there. Yeah. I didn't see a lot of people from Massachusetts, but I didn't come down with any kind of a group. But yeah, there were. I mean, it was like there had to be at least 500,000 people there.
What the Associated Press said this morning, there were only going to be hundreds there. Maybe they meant hundreds of thousands.
I think that's what he meant. It had to be. I've got the pictures, so I can send them. I can prove it. There were hundreds of thousands of people there. It was like remind me of, and I wasn't there at the time, but when Martin Luther King spoke. I'd been to the mountaintop. It was like that. They were down the middle, all the way to the Washington Monument, black with people. I mean, it was black with people, but covered with people. The grass was covered, and on each side they had all the roads cut off, and people were marching down there. There were, oh my God, there were so many people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nate.
You know what you're going to hear.
Have a good time there down there and enjoy it. And don't go to the Olive Garden. It's not. Yeah, it's just. That's for deplorables and irredeemables. All right, thank you, Nate. I appreciate it. That's Nate Nickerson from Arnold's in Eastham. Sticking to your New Year's resolution is a matter of making one right decision at a time. I've been trying to get out every day and do a little exercise on the bike. I used to try to lose weight before I had the operation. I don't have to worry about that anymore. But there's always some way you can improve yourself. And if you're looking to institute some healthy habits and improve your lifestyle this year, you need to check out Super Beets Soft Chews. Super Beets Soft Chews. I love these things. I take one in the morning before I go out for my bike ride. I take one before the show starts. Look at them. They're on social media. They're wrapped in foil like a piece of candy. They taste sweet and good like a piece of candy, but they're good for you. That's the difference. They're not candy. They're a very healthful product. Just 2 Super Beets Heart Chews per day give you the cardiovascular support and promote the heart healthy energy you need to chase your goals. Super Beets Heart Chews combine non-GMO beets and clinically researched grapeseed extract, shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. When it comes to implementing healthy habits this year, adding Super Beets Heart Chews to your daily routine is an easy decision to make. And now you can get a free 30-day supply of Super Beets Heart Chews plus a free 30-day supply of their new delicious flavor, Super Grapes, with your first purchase by going to superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's 2 free gifts valued at over $50, only available at superbeetsradio.com/Howie. You'll be glad you took advantage of this special deal. It's going to make you feel better, and you're going to enjoy it, and it's just a good New Year's resolution to improve your health. That's superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
Thanks.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts,
I get in trouble some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
and by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince
can you see if you can find a cut of Seth Moulton, the congressman from the North Shore, saying that the protesters are thugs?
Better blood flow equals
someone just texted me and said they just called them thugs.
And even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think 1 left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And there has never been any man or woman more qualified.
Howie, what cut were you looking for?
Someone just said that Seth Moulton was just on TV calling the Trump supporters thugs. I just wanted to get that because, again, thugs, you can't call people thugs anymore.
I thought it was an old clip.
No, just now.
All right.
It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
every time you turn around, expect to see me. There's one time you'll turn around and I'll be there.
The Howie Carr Show.
Some more information on those pipe bombs at RNC headquarters. Two pipe bombs, this is from the Federalist. Two pipe bombs detonated in a controlled explosion at the Republican National Committee's Washington headquarters, said a party official who was not authorized to go on record. It's confirmed. The bombs were located in the back of the building and were discovered by RNC security. Meanwhile, most of the party leadership is away in Florida for its annual winter meeting. The explosion was also reported by the New York Times as thousands of Trump supporters, et cetera, et cetera. So they tried to bomb the Republican National Headquarters. Somebody did. We don't know who. 844-500-4242. Dante, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dante.
Oh, Howie, I love you. Do you think that CNN will call this a mostly peaceful protest?
Well, I think you just heard what Anderson Cooper is calling it. He's calling it the old Wizard of Oz, the Wizard of Oz, the Wizard of Id, the old comic strip, and the old line, the peasants are revolting. That's basically what he was saying, was the peasants are revolting. And in revolting in the sense that he doesn't like them. Anderson Cooper, like Peter Strzok, the fired crooked FBI agent, could probably smell the Trump supporters at a Walmart. But that's the way it's going to be. 781 says, we love Nate and Arnold's. We just had Nate Nickerson on from Arnold's in East Ham. Went there this summer. No mask, no problem. Great food, drinks, ice cream, and mini golf. Yes, exactly. Mini golf. 844-500-4242. Let's see here. Let's listen to Eric Trump here. This is the president's younger son at the rally. Cut 23.
I've got a question for you. Is there any person here that actually thinks that Joe Biden won this election? I don't either, guys. I don't either. You know what? I went all across the country, everywhere I go. This guy couldn't fill up a classroom.
And then he goes on and talks about what the Trump family plans to do. Cut 24.
We as a family will never, ever stop fighting for you. We love this country. We love red, white, and blue. We love everything that this nation stands for. And guys, that's why we fight.
844-500-4242. There is other news out there. And just to remember the guy, Steve Scully, he was going to be the host of the second debate. And then it turned out that he was he had this record of he was a former aide, an intern to Joe Biden, and he had posted a lot of anti-Trump stuff on his Twitter feed. And then it turned out he had since Scaramouche, the president's former communications director, Scaramucci, who had turned on the president, been fired after 10 days, had sent him some instant messages or direct messages, and then he denied it and said someone had hacked into him, and he lied. He lied about it, and they didn't fire him; they just suspended him. So now with the cover of all the electoral college votes, and now this, they have announced C-SPAN. That's where he worked. This Democrat operative with a press pass. C-SPAN has announced it is bringing back disgraced host Steve Scully effective immediately, despite Scully's admission last year that he lied about a debate-related incident that unfolded on social media. So it's funny. No date has been set for his return to CNN's roster of on-air television hosts. His initial assignments will be off-air, producing for C-SPAN television and resumption of his work on C-SPAN Radio's Washington Today and The Weekly, a podcast interview program. So he's going to start out as an off-air producer, then he works his way up to radio, then to podcast, and then if he reports to his parole officer or his probation officer, he'll be allowed back on TV. probably in a couple of weeks. So again, if he had been a Republican who'd been caught lying about a Twitter hack, do you think he'd be back? Oh, but then Joy Reid, she talked about a Twitter hack and no one believed it. And she's got her own primetime show now. How about this guy? His name is Michael Flieger. Michael Flieger. Do you know him? He's from Chicago. He's a Roman Catholic priest, 71 years old. He's a dear friend of Barack Obama. Barack Obama has referenced him repeatedly as one of his closest. He's worked closely with him. And Jesse Jackson is another dear friend of the Reverend Michael Flieger. And Flieger was suspended from his pastorship, his parish, in 2008 for ripping into Hillary Clinton when he was promoting Barack Obama's candidacy. Oh, try not to what I'm about to tell you destroy your faith in the integrity of the clergyman supporting Barack Obama. Father Michael Flieger, the longtime pastor at St. Sabina Church, has been removed from the parish following revelations of a decades-old sexual abuse allegation against a minor. Cardinal Blaise Kupich announced the difficult news in a letter. It involves an allegation of sexual abuse of a minor more than 40 years ago. Flieger is just the latest high-profile Chicago cleric to face abuse allegations since Cardinal Blaise arrived to lead the flock in 2014. And he also had some less higher-ranking priests. Remember that? And they were caught having sex when they were on vacation in a car on Collins Avenue in Miami Beach. But this guy Flieger is he's very tight with Barack Obama, and that's something you won't be seeing tonight on any of the network newscasts. You won't be reading that that story in the New York Times. If he was close to Donald Trump, it would probably be on the front page of the New York Times and the Washington Post. But as it is, nothing to see here, folks. Move along. 844-500-4242. We'll talk more about the situation with the vaccine in New York when we come back. And we'll also take more of your calls about what's been going on down in D.C. today and how the mainstream media is playing it. 844-500-4242. We haven't heard any more about the Congress reconvening in a secure location to finish the certification of the Electoral College vote. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Like most companies, we here at Matthews Brothers are pretty proud of our website.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
Paul Sperry, I guess he's a former bureau chief in D.C.
Right.
For the Investor Business Daily. He said a former FBI agent on the ground at U.S. Capitol texted me and confirmed that at least one busload of Antifa thugs infiltrated peaceful Trump demonstrators as part of a false Trump flag ops.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Read that when we come back out, okay? Sure. Paul Sperry's pretty good.
Virtual home of your dreams. You'll have hours of fun this winter creating such visual master.
By the way, someone texted me that this guy Angeli was carrying a flag that said Q sent me. Or carrying a banner.
He's a QAnon guy, but he's also a big Trump supporter.
Yeah, but I mean, could that be a false flag too? I mean, do you really carry a sign that says Q sent me?
Yeah, that's his whole gimmick.
It's a weird gimmick.
He's a QAnon supporter. He's a QAnon guy.
God. Okay. All right.
I'm not saying like that a lot of this wasn't orchestrated, but, some people fell for it too.
I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Okay, are we allowed to grow too? Okay. So are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year. Because I've destroyed her political career, and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
Here's 1 minute of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So,
only in America does when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we, have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say, no, we're not going back to that.
I know it sounds banal. Do we know how long puppies are allowed to stay with their mothers after a dog has given birth?
I don't.
8 weeks. So the market has decided that women and people who give birth deserve less time with their children than a dog.
So the whole premise of the Green New Deal is that we're screwed.
Listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman. Did you have tanning lotion on, Joe? I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor. Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape. I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of a neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Remember the boy who cried wolf? I call this one the press
Taylor.
cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's
Yes.
I want to play that the Baker cut again from May. Okay.
Sure.
I'll set it up first. I found I can read the Paul Sperry thing. I found it.
Okay, and also remember the time that Chris Cuomo said, "Show me where it says protesters are supposed to be polite and peaceful."
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Show me where it says protesters can't go to the Olive Garden or the Holiday Inn.
I'm not an Olive Garden guy myself.
No, I'm not either. But I mean, I would never think of dumping on people who went there.
No, absolutely.
It's just
not in that circumstance.
It's bad form.
If we're just talking about restaurants, yeah, I might say something. But if you're talking about political views, no, I'm not going to bring in the Olive Garden.
It's about these monuments and what they stand for.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
You all think I'm licked. Well, I'm not licked. And I'm going to stay right here and fight for this lost cause.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Now we have been told, and they've been spotted. Protesters are inside the Capitol building. There are scores of protesters. We're told. I'm not sure exactly how many, but there have been witnessed. This is something I have never seen in my time covering Capitol Hill. That protesters have actually bleached, not just
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
I was just talking about this friend of Obama's who's this priest in Chicago who's just been removed from his parish amidst allegations of sexual abuse of a minor many years ago. And his name is Reverend Michael Pfleger, but it's spelled P-F-L-E-G-E-R. PF. The P is silent. So there's this blog in Chicago. They do good work. It's called Second City Cop. I think it's mainly a lot of cops and inside info from the Chicago Police Department and the Cook County law enforcement, probably the jail. And they have a guy who writes about Reverend Michael Pfleger, P-F-L-E-G-E-R, and the guy calls him P-Father P-Faker. P-F-A-T-H-E-R, P-F-A-K-E-R. So
Was he a
that's...
palmist?
Excuse me?
Was he a palmist?
Yeah, I think you could check him out on YouTube, where he's accusing Hillary Clinton of being entitled, and that she thinks everything is due to her because she's a white woman. That's what got her suspended. Actually, and people are complaining about the double standard here. That now they're denouncing protesters in the on the cable news channels because they're just very angry that people would protest. This is Chris Cuomo way back when it was BLM and Antifa that were rioting and looting. We should have it here any moment. Maybe not. Okay.
Now, too many see the protests as the problem. No, the problem is what forced your fellow citizens to take to the streets. Persistent and poisonous inequities and injustice. And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Yeah. Do you think they'll play that tonight on CNN? Then we have Charlie Parker today. As soon as I saw that he had put out a press release in the middle of the show, I knew what it was about. It didn't take Nostradamus. Governor Charlie Baker issues statement on violence at the U.S. Capitol, and so did pay-to-play Polito. I join Americans from every corner of the country to condemn the violence unfolding in the Capitol. The horrific violence unfolding at the Capitol is an attack on our democracy and should be condemned without qualification by President Trump. That's what they're saying today. This is what Charlie Baker was saying after the rioting in Boston in late May. And again, remember, there were at least 11 bullets fired at the cops on Tremont Street across from the Boston Garden by some thugs, at least one thug. There were all kinds of windows broken out. There was looting in Copley Place. There was looting all the way down to Downtown Crossing. Jewelry stores were looted. Some of the college buildings were trashed. And but after those riots and that arson, and I think there were 55 arrests that day, that evening. This is what Charlie Parker had to say about that.
I think anybody who's watched these events or witnessed them appreciates the fact that the vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that, at least here in Massachusetts.
That was then, and this is now, and he's disgusted at the horrific violence. Paul Sperry is a great investigative reporter. He did a lot of great work on the Russian collusion hoax. He just tweeted out about an hour ago. Breaking. Former FBI agent on the ground at U.S. Capitol just texted me and confirmed that at least one quote-unquote busload of Antifa thugs infiltrated peaceful Trump demonstrators as part of a false Trump flags operation. So that's Paul Sperry. And again, he's a pretty damn good reporter. 844-500-4242. Meanwhile, in New York, the rollout of the vaccination is a complete disaster, although you wouldn't hardly know it from in the mainstream media. They're too busy attacking Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida, even though it's going pretty smoothly down here, all things considered. There's a great editorial in the New York Post about this. Amid their bungling of the vaccine rollout, Governor Cuomo and Mayor de Blasio are great at two other things: making excuses and passing the buck. This is what Cuomo said on Monday. This was a much more aggressive undertaking than anyone thought. The nation was not prepared. And as the New York Post points out, 9 months to plan. He was too busy writing a book about how great he was by sending the COVID positive patients back into the nursing homes and killing thousands of people. Cuomo blames the people sometimes refuse to take the vaccine, he added, including 30% of hospital workers. Yet he himself cast doubts on the shot before the November elections. Cuomo blames the Fed's too slow vaccine program at whose picture he displayed with the words "must manage" all in caps. De Blasio, in turn, blames Cuomo's rules and demands more flexibility in who's eligible. Oh, God. So in New York City, public hospitals have only given out 31% of the vaccines that they've been given. 31%. These are the hospitals that are run by de Blasio's administrators. 31%. Taylor, would you care to guess what percentage of the vaccines that the New York Presbyterian Hospital, a private, no, what percent they have given out? 99%. 99%. Cuomo's rules have been crazy. A complex matrix, quote unquote, for who's eligible and when, enforced by whopping $1 million fines for jabbing someone out of order, guaranteed that butt-covering bureaucrats would go slow. How perfectly Cuomo to then turn around and announce new fines for failing to give out all your vaccines. Talk about a catch-22. If you give someone the wrong vaccine, you'll be fined $1 million. If you don't give out all your vaccines, you'll be fined. Well, how much will that fine be? $2 million? Even if they have no leftovers to no one eligible to give it to. Meanwhile, in another COVID development here, New York Magazine has decided, finally, they got a cover story, the lab link hypothesis, concluding that COVID-19 is a human-engineered virus that escaped from a Wuhan lab. All right? Remember that? That's been promoted for months in various papers, including the New York Post. But when the New York Post reported the same thing with much less detail and much less certainty than New York Magazine, a left-wing publication, they were suppressed. The New York Post was suppressed. Facebook quickly moved to suppress the column as false information and wouldn't unblock it until April 17th. So it was blocked for almost 2 months. Bet a left-leaning magazine won't have that same trouble. No, it won't. Yet Facebook fact checkers put a false information on our column and blocked posters' friends from reading it for themselves. Never mind the writer's careful caveats and the Post's own clear opinion label on the piece. But see, then if you read it, it might make you think less highly of the Chinese who, let's face it, basically supported Joe Biden, and it might make you think more highly of President Trump. So it had to be suppressed. But that's not necessary now. 844-500-4242, 207. Need to get the FBI agent to tell WTOP radio about the busload of Antifa people. You're not going to read that. You're not going to hear that story on the WTOP radio, and you're not going to hear it on you're not going to hear it on network news, and you're not going to read it in the Washington Post tomorrow. Guaranteed. 844-500-4242. I recently, last summer, had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but I was once again reminded of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer and a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. We're in a climate right now where a lot of people don't want to go into the city for many reasons. Perfect Smiles will solve that problem for you. It's conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, just off the interstate highway. Parking is plentiful. Parking is free. It's very easy to get to, quite convenient. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols they've taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. And actually, some of the protocols make it easier and less of an irritation to get your mouth worked on it. I believe it or not, that's true. To see for yourself and get your perfect smile, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile, change your life. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
Here are some rapid fire questions with Taylor Cormier. What would you eat?
You can open
for
it
your
up
last
for the
meal on Earth?
I'm fond
callers.
of old favorites, childhood favorites. I'd go with my mother's beef and bean pie, followed by, for dessert, my grandmother's recipe for oatmeal cookies and a big glass of milk.
Where is your favorite place to vacation?
Home. I like being home. I like my house. I know where everything is. Yeah, I just like being home.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to listen to?
It's called Without a Song, and it's on the album I Remember Tommy. It's a tribute to Tommy Dorsey, and it's a very swinging remake of the original orchestration.
Favorite Frank Sinatra song to sing?
My favorite one to sing is One for My Baby and One for the Road. It's a very sad song, but it's somebody coming to the realization that this is the way life is, and they've come to terms with it. And I think it's something that everybody can connect to. It's a great equalizer for everybody in the room.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP,
yes.
Will you retweet the Paul Sperry?
Sure.
Tweet.
Well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead.
Howie, that woman that was shot at the Capitol died.
Do we have her name?
Not yet.
And dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion. 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having two classes of 12, for example. But you know, in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval back in May 9, 2019, a $15 million, $15,000 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
I can still teach you a few, kid. You're just a tin-horn thug and you always will be. You haven't got the guts to be anything else.
The Howie Carr Show.
The guy who mentioned, why aren't we hearing about the busload of Antifa protesters allegedly being brought in on TOP, the all-news radio station in D.C., just texted me again. Oh, yes, and the WTOP reporter just had to mention about protesters not wearing masks. Well, I'll tell you, one of the ones who wasn't wearing a mask was the guy that has the hammer and sickle tattooed on his left hand. And, he's a very chunky individual. I would say he's at risk for the virus. But no mask for him. But he won't be criticized. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Nauset Beach Inn, open this winter for the first time in 63 years. Book an ocean view room for only $100 while rooms are still available. Book your ocean view room today at nausetbeachinn.com. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
If or when Joe Biden is inaugurated, should President Trump attend?
No, he should not.
81% say no.
Incidentally, the woman who was shot at the Capitol earlier today has died. You can see that on social media. Her being taken out on a stretcher. She was shot once in the neck, according to the news reports. People are also asking, where did we hear the information about the former FBI agent saying that there were a busload of Antifa people being brought in. Paul Sperry, the investigative reporter in D.C., and we just retweeted it out. So if you follow me at Howie Carr Show, you can get that tweet from Paul Sperry. 844-500-4242. All right. Let's see here. Rocky, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rocky.
Hey, Howie, I missed you the last couple of weeks, but Taylor did a great job, and Grace and the gang. Hey, I want to ask you a couple of things. What is it with Parker and that loser Molson and all these other scumbags when they were tearing up all the American cities, the Democrats, the kids with the man bun smoking dope in daddy's basement? No one said a word. Now all of a sudden, it's bad. And then you got Fredo, that moron, shooting his mouth off. And then Biden saying this is close to sedition. Is that the same thing as rape? Attempt, if you possibly rape somebody? Is that what that means?
I think what he was accused of by Tara Reid was not close to it. It was, under the legal definition, rape. But, now they're saying that Tara Reid is one of the biggest lunatics of 2020. That's what Mother Jones magazine said. So if she's the biggest lunatic and making this story up, why won't they release the documents from his Senate files that are stored at the University of Delaware, so we can prove that she never did file a complaint? She claims she did file a complaint, but they won't release the documents to prove it. 844-500-4242. Nancy, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Nancy.
Hey, Howie. This is Nancy in sunny Florida, and I'm really outraged that the news media is blowing this up, what's happening in Washington, but they were so supportive of Black Lives Matter and, that was peaceful and this and that. They have no consistency, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if this was staged so that the Republicans would not be able to do what they need to do in the Senate to overturn the election.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to prevail anyway, Nancy, but it's certainly going to make sure that for the next 2 weeks leading up to Joe Biden's inauguration, unfortunately, that Trump supporters are going to be blamed for everything. And I think whatever is turned up here with the fact, the likelihood that many of these people who got into the Capitol were not Trump supporters, that they were actually Trump haters, and the people who planted the bomb at the Republican national headquarters were, in all likelihood, not Trump supporters. That's going to be overlooked totally. It's the mantra's already out there. Again, let's play the Chris Cuomo cut one more time. Now, everything that Chris Cuomo says justifying the riots, the looting, the vandalism, the arson in the late spring and the early summer, he could, if he wanted to. I'm not defending what happened at the Capitol today. In no way, shape, or form am I defending what happened, whoever did it. But he could make the same argument that he made last summer. Listen to this.
Now, too many see the protests as the problem. No, the problem is what forced your fellow citizens to take to the streets: persistent and poisonous inequities and injustice. And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Inequities and injustice. Persistent inequities and injustices. But, that was then. This is now. It's those people that go to Olive Gardens.
It's stunning, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
The Garden Marriott. He's really down. Does he know that his favorite Republican, Willard Mitt Romney, used to be on the board of directors of the Marriott Hotel Corporation? Does he care? I wonder. I'm sure Mitt doesn't appreciate having the Marriott chain slurred like that. Although maybe now that he's become an official swamp creature, Mitt Romney doesn't care at all about the Marriott anymore. 844-500-4242. How many of those people do you think were staying at the Trump International Hotel? Not too many, probably. That's they're more likely to go to the Garden Marriott or the Holiday Inn. The Holiday Inn. 844-500. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. When we come back, we'll take a lot of your calls. What do you think? What's your reaction to what happened today at the Capitol? I'm Howie Carr.
Of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals.
Yes.
Will you send me that Charlie Parker cut?
Sure.
Liberty Safe. If you're a gun owner, you know that name because they've worked so hard to earn the title of America's #1 safe. And the area's best Liberty Safe dealer is Dependable Lock in Nashua. They have Liberty Safes in stock now. Keep your guns and other valuables locked up in a Liberty Safe. See the experts at Dependable Lock to learn more and see the full collection. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings of Congresswoman Harris, Congressman Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy do on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
So Taylor, do you have another sound cut of Charlie Parker?
www.superbeetsradio.
Yeah, it's not as
good
as the
okay.
First one.
Okay.
It's from the same day.
Okay.
I just threw it in there in case you wanted some extra.
No, that's good. Thank you. I appreciate it. I just was wondering if we should play it, but that's okay. We don't need it.
What the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the
Did
first
they take down a Donald Trump tweet
to go
just
to
now?
university?
Why am I the first connect in 1,000?
I don't know about just now, but they've been censoring him pretty heavily.
Because I just tried to get it.
Yeah, it looks like there have been a few that have been removed. Not sure if Twitter removed them or he deleted them.
But this is this the one? These are the things and events that happen.
Yeah, I saw that one. There's probably a screenshot of that somewhere. I'll look for it for you.
Yeah, can you just find the screenshot just to be sure?
I'll find it for you.
Okay.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Trump has been tweeting out some more stuff this evening, and some of it is banished. We're not sure whether he took it down himself or whether Twitter took it down. But we're trying to get some screenshots before we read it off. 844-500-4242. He probably shouldn't have said this one that he said that's out there, and I won't read it till we actually get a screenshot of it. But he probably shouldn't have said it the way he did. But you know, again, he's very frustrated and he's angry, and we don't know who was behind some of this real violence, or whether it was his people or whether it was the other side, shall we say. The reporting is that the woman who was killed was shot by the Capitol Police, and again, that's not confirmed or anything. We don't have her name either. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Howie. I'm a Navy veteran, and I'm really concerned because I'm wondering what's going to happen. Are they going to get rid of the national anthem and the flag? I mean, what's going to happen? Am I still going to be able to have a flag in my window? People are going to be able to attack me? I mean, these protests have been mostly peaceful for them. Well, these are mostly peaceful protests. Most of the people there were, like you said, and I believe that the same way they tried to blame it on all of the...
I've got that screenshot.
I didn't see anybody there in Hawaiian shirts, so I think it was all BLM and Antifa trying to infiltrate in and cause problems.
Well, we don't know that, but I mean, there's certainly speculation, and they zeroed in on the tattoo on one of the protesters' hands, and it's a hammer and sickle. Now, let me ask you something: how many deplorables, irredeemables, bitter clingers do you know that have a tattoo of the symbol of the old Soviet Union on their hand? I'm going to say zero, right? Okay, so Taylor, you found the screenshot. What is the screenshot? What does the screenshot say of the deleted tweet?
President Trump tweeted this and said, "These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever."
Yeah, he shouldn't have said that. I mean, it just plays into his enemy's hands, you know. 844-500-4242. Alan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Howie, thanks for taking my call. I'd like to just say, you know, it didn't have to get to this. I mean, this could have been settled in a much different fashion. I mean, we went to the highest court. I mean, that's the highest court we had. If they would have just taken our case on and just listened, I mean, that's all we wanted. We wanted some ears to fall upon. You know, it just feels like the boots are right to our throat lately. And just, I mean, for the last 4 years, we've been that wife with the black guy that's just been getting beat, and it's just awful. It's completely awful because most of these people that are out there supporting, they're not violent people. If you look at the videos, they're older people. They're people with their kids and children. They're there because they love the country. Most of them are veterans. You know, and like you said, I think you're absolutely correct. I think some of these people are, you know, they're trying to mix in with these good Americans out there, and they're trying to make us look bad.
Yeah. again, it was on social media. People have seen it. The Antifa people were spreading the word how to infiltrate, and there were reports last night of pallets of bricks being placed in the area around Capitol Hill, and that was something that they were doing in the summer with these riots in the big cities. They were dumping shields and various other implements that you could use in a street riot, and they never really prosecuted anybody, as far as I know, for any of that stuff. And I don't know how these bricks. They say, oh, it was near a construction zone. But it was, in a construction zone, when you're building a building, you put all the supplies behind a fence for obvious reasons, so it won't be stolen when all the workers leave at night. And this was outside of the chain link fence at the construction site. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Ron DeSantis has been taking a lot of grief in the media for the so-called botched rollout of the vaccination in Florida. And again, there is no botched rollout in Florida. I got mine today. I didn't have to wait. I didn't jump in line. I got an email from my doctor down here, and he said, "Come on by." And so I went on by. I walked down there, and I got it. And it took me 15 minutes. And it took me 1 minute about to get the shot. And then they just said, stick around for 15 minutes and we'll check your blood pressure again to make sure nothing's wrong.
The real question is, Howie, did you get the vaccine because the doctor said it was okay or because Trump said it was okay?
Well, I called the doctor after he sent me the email, and I said, doctor, I don't know, should I get the vaccine or should I just ingest some fish tank cleaner that I happen to have here that I heard the president told me to take? And the doctor said, well, you could take the fish tank cleaner, Howard, but come on down and get the shot. So now I have to go back on February 4th to get my second shot. And I feel fine. The shot. I sometimes get vitamin shots at this place that I go to, and the vitamin D shot is more painful than the shot that I got this morning. All right. Anyway, DeSantis has taken a lot of crap. And even though Cuomo, who is he's totally botched this thing. But Fredo Cuomo, his brother on CNN, would never think to attack Cuomo or for that matter, de Blasio, because he has got the Democrat immunity from criticism. So last night, DeSantis was on with Tucker Carlson, and Tucker was inquiring about the disparate, shall we say, to use one of their favorite words, the disparate media coverage of the two governors on the East Coast, DeSantis and Cuomo. Cut 35.
Do you think you'd get fair treatment from CNN if your brother had a primetime show on that channel?
Well, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas. But, I think it's pretty clear some of these networks, obviously, they have agendas. They're doing narratives. They're not trying to report facts anymore. It's all about spinning whatever narrative they think can get ratings. And that's just the reality of the situation. So it doesn't impact me. We're going to continue keeping our eye on the ball and working as hard as we can to deliver results.
Exactly. Laurie, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Laurie.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
So my parents are in Florida, and they're 75 and 76, and they have been unable to get the vaccine.
Well,
my mother has called all over the place and can't get it.
Well, does she have a doctor down here?
My dad does, but they were trying to do it through the local board of health, and have this been very unsuccessful with it. They live in Jupiter, not far from where you are.
Wow, there shouldn't be a problem. Well, there was an actual story today in the Palm Beach Daily News, the so-called shiny sheet, saying that some of the elderly were angry. I got the headline in. Florida seniors furious over vaccine rollout. But I don't think there's a problem. It just depends if you have the right doctor. And I don't know what it's like in Jupiter, Laurie, but in Palm Beach, the town is giving them out at the fire station, and you just have to make an appointment. And 800 people have made an appointment in Palm Beach. And Jupiter is it's the northernmost part of Palm Beach County. They should be able to get something. I would call the town of Jupiter. That's what. Tell them to do that, Laurie, and see if they have some more success. Thanks for the call. 844-500-4242. Betsy McCoy, the former lieutenant governor of New York, had a column today about the problems in New York as opposed to the lesser problems or lack of problems or fewer problems, I should say, in Florida and Texas. If you live in Florida or Texas and you're 65 or older, you can get in line for a COVID vaccine at a mall, stadium, or drive-through center or the fire station. You may have to wait hours, but being in line is better than being in the dark. That's where most New Yorkers find themselves, desperate to get vaccinated with no way to sign up. It may be months before they can. Other states are failing too. And then she points out that in 1947, a guy came in on a boat into New York City, and he had smallpox. 1947, I think the mayor was O'Dwyer back then. And he was run out of town, or run out of the mayor's job later on for his connections to the mob, I think in Brooklyn. But he still was able to put together a response to the threat of smallpox. With no warning, smallpox, a deadly disease thought to have been eradicated, was brought to New York by a sick traveler. All it takes to spread smallpox is a cough, sneeze, or touch, just like COVID-19. Back then, the city Department of Health swung into action and vaccinated more than 6 million New Yorkers in 1 month. First come, first serve. Only 2 New Yorkers died. Compare that to the thousands expected to die in the coming months because they couldn't get the vaccine now. De Blasio says the city would be moving faster if the state loosens regulations on who can receive the vaccine. He has a point. Right now, the state is limiting the vaccine to health workers and long-term care residents, nursing homes. And next in line is essential workers, quote unquote, mostly from unions and people over 75. That means seniors ages 65 to 74 and adults with critical health problems still have to wait several months. Of course, when the Buffalo Bills made the playoffs, Cuomo jumped into action, charging the state to produce a precision plan to open the stadium at limited capacity. Meanwhile, next Saturday, when the Bills play their first playoff game in 25 years, another 150 New Yorkers will likely die from COVID-19. New Yorkers should be in open revolt and screaming bloody murder about the vaccination delay, because that's what it is. But yet, again, is there anything in the national press, in the national media about the disaster of the vaccination program in New York and New York State and New York City? Have you read any national stories about the fact that in Massachusetts, prisoners are getting inoculated before first responders? 844-500-4242. 617 says, I thought you were boycotting Fox News. I am boycotting Fox News. Taylor found that. I'm boycotting MSNBC and CNN, but we had a cut from Chris Cuomo earlier in the day. That's the beauty of the internet. You don't have to watch these shows. Limerick guy says, are you serious? What the hell is wrong with Trump telling the absolute truth about what happened in the election when you say he shouldn't have said that? You sound like just another Republican swamp creature. Limerick guy, when he says what he said in that tweet, he's playing into their hands. Do you know that tweet is going to be up everywhere? He's condoning the violence. What happened with Charlottesville back in 2017? Remember that? He said that all violence should be condemned, but he said there were some very fine people on both sides. He said that in a passing manner. And that's what they concentrated on. Biden still talks about it. He says that's why he ran for president. You don't want to give your enemies ammunition, Limerick guy. That's all I'm saying. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Fighting the fake news, one former Democrat stenographer with a press pass at a time. It's Howie Carr.
A polar vortex is coming, and my friends at Eden Pure have a special deal for my listeners on their strongest heater, the Gen 30. The Eden Pure Gen 30 classic infrared heater uses state-of-the-art infrared heat to warm you to the core. It's even been proven to keep you warmer than your furnace and saves you money on your heating bills every month. The Gen 30 heater doesn't dry out the air in the room. This helps prevent dry skin. If you have pets or young kids around, you don't need to worry about the heater catching on fire or burning them. The Gen 30 heater has an automatic safety tip-over shutoff. With real wood surrounding the heater, it will look beautiful in your room, too. Get ready for the polar vortex and don't be caught with huge heating bills. This sale is 1 week only, so go to EdenPure.com and put in code Howie Deal. You will receive an extra $25 off their lowest sale price and free shipping with code word Howie Deal. This is a great deal, so order today at EdenPure.com. Eden Pure, never be cold again.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give them a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable. But one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, I was just checking on oil again today. I was wondering.
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
I was wondering if you...
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
In today's excitement, I forgot to write you the morning minute. I have it written now. Do you want to do it after the show, or do you want me to record it?
I'll do it after the show. Just send it over, and I'll do it right after the show, as soon as it ends. Okay?
Sure.
You're scared.
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General
what's his name?
report. I don't know his name.
Some of your allies have been bashing these doctors. Would you tell them to cut it out?
Today you tweeted the invisible enemy will soon be in full retreat. Given it's invisible, without widespread testing, how would you know?
Got hate mail?
You bloated idiot! You stupid fat you!
Send it to Grace at HowieCarShow.com.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number. of the Howie Carr Show. 917 says, the point Limerick guy was trying to make is that our side always has to be careful what we say, how we say it, where we say it, when we say it. The other side could just say whatever the hell they please and nothing happens. Doesn't matter what Trump said. They're going to kick him in the ass no matter what, precisely the way they did with the Charlottesville hoax. Exactly. But the fact is, there are double standards. We all understand this, right? And you have to play the hand that you're dealt. I know it's an old cliche, but it's true. You don't have the same freedom as a Democrat to just say whatever you want. You don't have the same freedom to do whatever you want. And not have the press report on it, like they're not going to report on this C-SPAN Democrat operative with Press Pass who's coming back after lying about having his Twitter feed hacked. They're not going to report on Obama's friend, the priest in Chicago, being removed from his parish on allegations of a sexually abusing a minor. You know, that's just not going to happen. But if the pastor of the church that Trump goes to here in Palm Beach, even if he only goes at Easter and Christmas Eve, if he got arrested, you think that would be a front page story? Damn right it would be. You know, that's the way it goes. I mean, look, they covered up Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, and it wasn't just about the son. The son was writing his daughter, Joe's granddaughter, that he had to kick back 50% of all of his earnings, quote unquote earnings, to the big guy. And on another email, he was talking about how the money the Chinese were giving him, he was going to have to hold 10% for Jay. And it wasn't J-A-Y, it was just J. And it wasn't that J didn't stand for Jim either, his brother. 844-500-4242. How about the day after Trump was elected? Madonna was saying she wanted to blow up the White House, or was that the day he was inaugurated? It was something. I know what you're talking about. And how about all these tweets after the election returns came out in Georgia, and they said that they wanted to burn it down. Burn it down. There's a whole string of tweets from these blue checked social justice warriors. They're just saying the worst things imaginable about Trump and Trump supporters and deplorables, and there's no pushback, none whatsoever. Nobody gets canceled. And I mentioned earlier in the day, Cleta Mitchell, the lawyer, the female lawyer that was with Trump on the call to the Secretary of State in Georgia. She had to resign from her law firm. They got so much pushback just being on one call for an hour with the President of the United States. And she had to leave the law firm where she'd worked for 20 years. 20 years. Gone. Because they can't stand Donald Trump. They can't stand you. They can't stand me. They can't stand 75 million of us. They want us to go away. 844-500-4242. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm Howie Carr. I got to do one more thing here.